Hey everybody, ReefGrrl here, and welcome to ReefGrrl Live. I'm so glad you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, ask a few questions, maybe show us what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin. Hi everyone, welcome to another Saturday night to talk about your reef tanks. I hope we'll have people come in and share their tanks. The email is reefgrrl@gmail.com. It's familiar, but I'll put that banner up in a couple of minutes. And welcome to everybody who's here already. 9 to start with. That's pretty darn good for a Saturday night in the middle of the summer when lots of people are on vacation. So that's pretty awesome. We have Lee White. You were first tonight, Lee. Thank you for coming. Joseph Posada. Hey, Joseph. I hope you're doing well. There's Dell's Reef. Hello. Bye, Cindy. You just dropped by, Joseph, right? Thanks for coming by. Hey, T40. Nice to see you. So this was kind of big week for me because I think I told you guys last week I got the final information that my tank is being shipped. And it is coming apparently on Monday, 2 days from now. And the waybill says, the tracking says 0800, 8 in the morning. So I kind of doubt that. I guess we'll find out. And I'm not even going to assume it's coming Monday because you know what can happen. They might have to have a detour or maybe they need to change their schedule. So I've been checking that waybill tracking like 3 times a day just to see if anything's changed. So cross our fingers and hope we're ready. We've cleared out space in the garage. My husband spent a bunch of time the last 2 days rinsing sand, and we're getting it dry so that it can go in the tank. So it's all systems go, and hopefully the tank will get here when it's supposed to. But after 7 months of waiting, I'm no longer in a hurry. It'll come when it comes. Oh, hey, Insane Reefer. Glad you could make it, Oscar. One Golf Jones. Hello. Skinner JW. Oh, just got back from vacation. I hope I make it really tired. Tanks made it. Awesome. Yeah, the tanks, that's the main thing, right? I can show you guys a short video. It's early, and I'm thinking anyone watching the replay, it's early in the stream. So if you're interested in an update from what I've got going on right now, the sump system, I took this like 2 hours ago, and I just put together a couple of minutes of video footage. So why don't I show you that early on, and hopefully we'll get some guests that'll come in. And my cold is just about gone, but I do get the odd spell. Okay, so here's the video. I think you can hear me if I tell you what's going on. This is Mollywood, and that's the rack that has the new corals on that I got this week. And I mainly wanted to show you the fish feeding. Of course, now they're behind the rack. You can hardly see them, but the Desjardins and the purple tang are doing well and eating like little pigs. Lost these 3 corals overnight, but the vendor has, Unorthodox Reef, by the way, has already given me a gift card to cover them, and the rest are doing so good. This gold Samacora is to die for. I can hardly wait to see it all spread out on a big rock, and spicy lemon favia. So that is the observation tank. It used to be called Mollywood about 2 hours ago. And here is the first 100-gallon. This is going to be empty when the main tank is set up, and it'll have a lid on it. And this is what I'm going to use for water changes. And for now, I'm starting to lose coral. I think because of bottoming out my phosphates to 0. That's what's left, those little green dots of my really big turbinaria colony, my scroll coral, my much, much loved scroll coral. I don't know if it'll come back. We'll see. Bubble coral's recovering still. My Cinerina struggling. These guys are doing well. Gold chalice. That's a Symphilia. Pectinia land over here. And a couple odds and ends on frag racks there, just kind of hanging in for dear life. So right now, I feel that's what's going on. Everything's struggling to just stay alive. Some things aren't, but a lot of things are. I do believe I'm going to lose this branching Cyphastria colony. I'm upset about it, but I'm not going to give up on it because stuff has come back, especially Cyphastria. You will see white coral here. Again, I think because I got the phosphates down to 0 too quickly. And not only that, the algae that was growing in here like nuts, I think also contributed to that phosphate plummeting. And I started dosing phosphate, and then I suddenly realized here I am feeding my bumper crop of algae. So I stopped doing that. I put some food in, and there's the Tomini tang, nice and fat. It's doing really, really well, eats well. And that's the molly with the tumors. It does not affect it from what I can see. He can still dive down. So this is the flow. I just wanted you guys to see that I learned my lesson. Got lots of surface flow going on here. 3 power heads in each of these 2 tanks. And so far the pH is holding pretty steady at around 8.1. And I've changed my mind about the purple tang being a jerk. I think he and the Desjardins have become buddies because now they eat together. They follow each other around the tank. And yeah, I think they're pals now. So I'm kind of reluctant to separate them. Originally, I was thinking that I needed to get the Desjardins out of there and put it in the tank that had, well, one of the 2 that has a crap load of algae. And now I'm thinking, I don't know, if I take one out, I should probably take both out. So we'll see. I'd have to catch them first. So the other thing is I'm treating with fluconazole. That stuff went in the tank Wednesday around 4 o'clock, I guess. So I think just over 72 hours it's been in there. And I've gone in every day and pulled out handfuls of algae because I learned that once the tank lights are off and the room light is on is when I can actually see the massive clumps of bryopsis and green hair algae and turf algae everywhere. So I've been taking out buckets of the stuff. And my thinking is the less the fluconazole has to treat of this really long, voluminous algae, the more hopeful I am that it'll actually get down to the roots. So that's the fight I'm having right now. And that's another reason I'm kind of reluctant to move the 2 tangs over into the sump system because the fluconazole treatment's going on right now. So that's where everything is today, as of a couple hours ago. Very much in a holding pattern, starting to make plans now for the logistics of how to set up the tank, how to get the water in, how to get the sand in, rocks, how to build the aquascape. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to climb in to build the aquascape because some of the rocks that are going in the middle are pretty big. And we'll see how that goes. And in the meantime, while I've been chatting here, we have more people. Matt Greer, hello Matt, and there's Andrew Hudson. Andrew, I got your email about your sand, and I'll read it to update people because I know when we were talking about that and about you adding your system onto, adding another tank onto your system, that was part of that discussion. Oh boy, don't feel bad, Cindy. I've lost about 50% of my SPS. Hey, Oscar. Yeah, I know. And you know, those, the SPS I showed you in Mollywood, it's because that's the only place I can put them where I can observe them and I can completely control the flow and the light. And they're all doing really well. The first batch I got was on the right-hand side of that rack, and they're mostly green, but they're starting to color up. They went brown for probably 2 weeks after I got them. And now they're finally starting to get some color back. I get polyp extension, not on all of them, but then I can't, I can only put another power head somewhere else. And I'm afraid it'll be too much for that little tank with the other stuff I've got going on. So what I do is I move the one that's there, I move it around a little bit. So anyway, but the SPS are doing okay. And I'm hoping that those ones will be able to go into the new system once I have the tank, because really I've got the existing sump system that's been running for 6 months now, almost. And it's getting there. It had live rock in it, my original reef. It had all of the media bags of, well, the bags of media from the 2 canisters that were in the 90-gallon holding tank. So I feel like it's in pretty good shape to handle the stability requirements of the new aquarium, but we'll see. I got to run it for a while and just make sure that it's not just wishful thinking. I'm sorry to hear about your losses. That's never a good thing. True Skills, hello. How's it going? True Skills, I have a story for you. Yeah, it's sometimes hard to find that balance of nutrients. Oh man, you're so right. It's the algae that's killing my phosphate. And so the only sort of comfort I can take is that there must be phosphate in the water, but the algae is outcompeting the coral. And to lose that branching Cyphastria colony that was doing fine for over a year, and well, I guess about 4 or 5 months, 6 months in this tank, in the space of a week, and that turbine area, that happened in like 3 days or less. So I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to hope that those couple of little areas of green will come back. It's not growing algae. It's been like that for almost a week now, and it is not growing algae yet. So crossing my fingers. Hey, Sharbuckles, how's it going? And there's B Speed. Hello. Yeah, it is a bummer, and I can't help but think if the tank had come when the tank was supposed to come, I'd be past this point now. And that's what really bugs me because I know Alex G ran into this when he had his temporary tank set up. It is really hard to keep on top of this algae stuff when you can only see top down and everything's black. And as I said, when I turned on that room light and the tank light was off, so there wasn't the blue light sort of taking away all of the ability to see around the edges, I couldn't believe the extent of the long clumps of algae all around the edge. Every once in a while, I'd see some encroaching on the coral, so I would go in and pull it back. But I just, it blows my mind how much there actually is. Well, I should say was, because now it's starting to go away. Even though it's only been 72 hours, I've pulled a lot out, and I'll keep doing that as much as I can. And I'm trying to pull it off the bottom because, when you have these bare bottom tanks, areas of detritus form because of the flow, and that's where the algae grows. So there's huge clumps of it in that 100-gallon that I can just reach in with my tweezers and pull right out. And so that's part of what I'm going to do tomorrow is go through and get as much as I can off of the bottom. And some of that is around my scolemias. So I don't want to disturb them too much by messing around with their environment. Because, now that I've lost my bulletproof turbinaria and my Cyphastria that's been through the wars, I'm afraid. If I lose those 2 scolies, I'll never be able to afford to replace them. So, yeah. Oh, hey, Mark Teffer. Nice to see you. Insane Reefer. That's what I did. I just said, whatever's going to die, it's going to die, and what will make it will. Yeah. And you know what? That's a lesson we learn, isn't it? With our tanks. Sometimes no matter what you do, there are certain corals you can't keep. I'm just dismayed because these corals have been with me for, well, the turbinaria I got as a really small frag, like really small, maybe half an inch in 2015. And it got this big and it was beautiful. So I really hope the tissues, it's just that the tissue has bleached out and that the polyps are still there. I'm not seeing any green when I use my UV flashlight, except in that one little tiny area that had those green dots. So if anybody's wondering what the heck I'm talking about, I played a short video at the beginning of the tanks and how everything looks today, a couple hours ago. And I'm losing a couple corals, and that's in that video if you want to rewind or catch it on the replay. Maybe later on, depending on how things go, if I get any guests in here, I'll, oh, there's somebody there. Mark T. Mark T's got his courage up and he's in here. Anyway, I'll stop blabbing and get Mark T in here. There's Mark T.
Hey.
Hello, Mark T. Did you step away for a moment?
No. Can you hear me?
How's that? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you able to hear me, though?
Awesome. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
You would think after 50 times with having my thing cut out while I'm blabbing, I would learn to hit that thing as soon as I bring somebody in, or maybe even before. So sorry about that.
No worries.
Hey, Fletcher, right? So, Mark, how are you?
Doing.
Yep. You kind of faded out on us there a little. Can't hear you now. My thing's working. Oh, I don't know. Oh, you came back in. Cool.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, I'm going to take your other avatar out.
Go right ahead. It's a little
see.
difficult. I am on my phone tonight.
Yeah.
The laptop didn't want to participate well with others today.
Oh, dear.
So.
Yeah. So, tell us. Oh, actually, you know what? We got to do the troll question, because if we don't, because I don't think we've ever had you in here before.
No, I've always lurked.
Yeah, so we're going to do the troll question. Oh, hey, Reefing with O, nice to see you. And this is something, I don't know how much if you've ever seen this, but it's something I started right at the beginning, where if we have new guests, just to kind of break the ice and get to know you a little bit, I'm the troll that's guarding the bridge into the studio, and I have a question for you. And it's not meant to be hard or anything like that. It's just, kind of, just like I said, break the ice a little. And let me think for a second. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to ask. All right, okay. So my troll glasses are on. For all of those of you who say, where are the glasses? Today we got the pineapple glasses going on. So Mark, if you think of the most frustrating experience you've ever had in the reef keeping hobby, what did you learn from it?
Ooh, that's a good one. The roughest part of reef keeping, and what did I learn from it?
Yeah. Like if you think of
nothing happens fast.
Yeah.
Except bad things. That's what I have learned. Keep my fingers out of the tank, let it do its thing, but don't expect anything to happen overnight in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, we can relate. That's, I think, something that happens to everybody at one point or another. So how long have you been keeping a reef tank?
Actually, next week marks 1 year.
Really?
So it's
cool.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster. I mean, I started with a 90-gallon, just a simple plain setup, and now I've got a 90, currently cycling an empty 75. I have a 30-gallon quarantine up, and I've got a 12.5 for my wife's anemone and clown collection.
Right. Yep. Hey, it's how it happens. I at one time had 5 going at the same time.
Well,
mind you, 2 of them were to breed mollies, so 3 of them were actual reef tanks. And yeah, been there.
I'm still trying to think of a way to convince my wife to let me just bite the bullet and go get a 225 and just done.
Jump to the end. Well, a piece of advice I have heard is, when you're looking at getting a reef tank, get the biggest that you can afford and have space for.
And that's how I started with the 90. Like this
Yeah.
90 was literally my very first tank. I mean, I bought it's funny, I bought the tank. The 75 was originally my refugium, and the stand back in 2013, because I
Wow.
got both tanks, the stand for $1,000 flat, plus, and that included the delivery fee.
Right.
So, you know, it was a really good buy for me at the time. And then with myself being Navy, everything goes topsy-turvy, and it just never got set up till a year ago.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that through the live streams and through YouTube videos and things like that. All of a sudden, a deployment comes along and everything changes.
Okay. So let's see now if I can figure out how to get my tank viewable without you seeing my ugly mug.
I've been there. You have no idea how hard it is for me to sit on this side of the camera. I really hate it, but I can sympathize with you. But I can assure you, your mug probably is not ugly. Hey, Calypso's Reefs, what do you do? How are you? You might, if we lose you, you can go out and come back in again.
Well, I'm just trying to figure, like, I'm looking at the camera here, and I'm just trying to figure out how to switch. Ah, there we go. All right, now let's see which camera we get with this. Hey, all right.
I was going to say, aim it at your feet. That's what I always used to do.
Well, it's, like I said, I'm sitting on my phone. Like, as you can see, there's my complete mess of a refugium setup right now. I just finished losing all my Chaeto because newbie mistake, dosed my Vibrant, forgot to take my Chaeto out.
Oh, boy.
All right, so.
It's how you learn, right?
This, an expensive lesson. Here's the base tank. It's quite ugly today. I've got some diatom and green hair just wrecking the place right now.
I like how you have your rocks arranged. And is that a rock up on the left, or is that like GSP that's growing up there?
That is my Green Star.
Oh,
currently in the process of taking over that whole wall. That's actually my the drain. I have a corner overflow drain.
Yeah.
And I got tired of seeing this big black thing in the back, so I stuck a piece of him up there, and as you can see, he's been doing quite happily.
You're liking it for sure.
Yeah, there's my chromies, Peek and Boo.
Yeah,
they are good camera hogs.
Hey, Mark, are you able to turn your phone horizontal? If you do, we get more of the view. Maybe that didn't work. Sometimes it's hard to do after you've turned your camera on. Yeah.
See if no.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, you have anemone in there too, from the looks of it.
Well, I do. So this is my red bubble tip. He has split 3 times.
That is an interesting color. I like the green and the sort of maroon that it has.
Where did I put? Just 1 second here. I can actually see if this works. I don't have a lot of luck. I'll figure out which camera I'm using here. Here we go.
Too many choices. We have talked about this. It's like buying pantyhose. There's too many options these days.
And let's do. Come on. There we go.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
So he's actually, this is the colors you see now are actually what he does kind of perk up with. So he's got kind of a redishy pinky tips. You are right on the green center. I wish he would swell out right now, but typically he has these beautiful white streaks from his mouth outward.
That is cool. And you know, you don't often see them in a cave like that, like right on the bottom.
So previous to him being in this location, he was actually up here by my feather dusters, just causing so much havoc with them. So there's my oldest, my Chalice. I kind of burned him a little bit. He got in a dose of my no pox, and it went
Oh,
straight across him. So he's not doing so hot. Then we have my little mushroom gallery over here. I'll turn the light back to normal. It's so hard to see with the blue.
yeah.
There we go.
What lighting do you have on there?
Well, I'm currently transitioning. So I have a Fluval Marine 68 that goes across the top, but I'm currently in the process of switching over to the XR15 Gen 5s.
Oh, nice.
So there's my little Florida Recordia.
Nice.
He dropped 1 foot on the top and then proceeded to hide under the frag.
They are weird little creatures. I really have mixed experience with those. I can't stand it when they just walk off their plug and go for a float, and that's why I refuse to buy expensive mushrooms, because in my experience they will not stay where I put them.
I've been pretty lucky. These guys tend to stay on their little rock here. As you can see, like he's left. Well, I started with 2, and I'm currently up to 1, 2, 3, 9. Yeah, 9 in total.
Yeah.
And my conch hiding in the middle there.
Yeah.
It's unusual to see him out. Now I do have, if I can find him, this is one of his openings, but my pistol shrimp.
Okay. I'm looking forward to getting a pistol shrimp again. I absolutely love that little guy.
Well, my guy is a little bit different. I bought him as a pair with the goby, and within 24 hours, he had done away with the goby.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, no, he was in the tank. They went to their location. They were together. And then he moved under this rock that you see here. Like I said, the anemone, there's a small cave in there, and I think you might, I don't know if you can see him very well, but that little pink in the center there is my candy cane. They've become friends.
Okay.
But the goby went to go down into the hole, and that was the end of him. The pistol wasn't so happy.
I've never heard of that before.
I have never been able to find anything about it.
Yeah,
so
that's too bad. We do have a question about your heater. You've got your heater in your tank?
Yeah. So right now, I've been playing with the setup on my sump in the refugium. So I moved both my heaters up into the display to level out my temperature.
Yeah.
I had a bit of, when they were both down below in the refugium, I had quite a drop. So they've been up there now for 2 to 3 weeks.
So you have them in your main tank to maintain the temperature up here because it wasn't where you needed it when they were down in the sump.
Yeah, when I had it in the sump, I was seeing quite a variation. My Neptune was reading it. I was fluctuating on a high of 81 and on a low of 76. So if nothing else in this tank goes, I at least try to keep my temperature just straight across within a degree of distance.
Yeah.
My standard is about 78 to 79.
Right.
So what else we got? My green star. Oh, hey, one of my emeralds has decided to make an appearance today.
Holy smokes, that thing's gigantic.
He is 1.5 inches.
Oh my God.
And he's the small one.
Wow.
There is a bigger.
I like emerald crabs. I really enjoy watching them.
He's definitely interesting. He likes to try and pick on the anemone, and the anemone just kind of squiggles up into a ball, and then he gets bored. But that's his little area he hangs out with the most.
Yeah.
So as we go across a little more, all my snails everywhere. Another one of my mushrooms. I got that one as an add-on to when I bought my blue-eyed blondie, Zilvis. Yeah. He was hidden on the bottom of the plug.
Oh.
So.
I like those hitchhikers.
Oh, I've gotten pretty lucky. I have 3 of them at current. So the the Kenya tree was the biggest one that I ended up with that just pulled everything. And I'm not sure what this guy is, so if anyone ever has an idea, please let me know. But that is an anemone that my wife found and brought home.
In the ocean, you mean?
No, just a local fish store run. Just she found him there. He's literally probably, I don't know, quarter of an inch. He's taken up refuge in that little hole there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, he's got color.
Oh, he's beautiful. It's kind of like a paley white base and then pink semi-transparent tentacles. But they're very short.
Interesting. Yeah, it doesn't look like a standard rock flower.
No. And that's what I was wondering if he was just kind of a baby bubble tip, but the coloration I've never seen before.
Interesting. Do you try feeding it at all?
ReefGrrl. My tank, so every day I do a dose of Red Sea Energy 80 plus, and then I mix up a small amount of ReefGrrl, and the ones that get those are my mushrooms, the anemones, and my elephant ear, and my 2 acans. So
interesting. No, that's interesting. I mean, I love this kind of stuff because there's so many things that are unidentified.
Oh, there's so many, and the problem that I've had is like, you find some things and they've got 2 or 3 different names.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yep.
I have a random pally in the back. I don't know if you can see that kind of little purpley brown area.
Yeah, and you got bumblebee snails too.
I do.
I love those things.
So I have bumblebee snails, astrias. I have a few other ones. Just I never see the guys anymore. I can't even usually find them hiding in the sand anymore. So I have a feeling they're hiding kind of in the little crawl away spaces that I just can't see.
Cool.
So my toadstool in the back, he's seen some better days. Right now he's scrunched up. I think he's either going to be dropping a finger or splitting again. So, and there's my elephant ear. Beautiful little softie.
That is nice. That's a cabbage leather. That's what we know them as, cabbage leather.
Yes. I've had them as both, so it's a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a toxic green one like that too, and man, oh man, the color was just brilliant.
And we have my 2 acans in the back. Now, I've never been able to get a name for these guys, but they are some of my favorites. I'm currently trying to source some more, but the local area here, there's not a lot of acans, so.
Right.
Everyone tends to be a little more SPS.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Oh, hey, Phil, Reef Keeper's here. Nice to see you. Hey, Annie Jefferson. So Annie Jefferson is saying use an ink bird and put the probes where you need them in the tank, and then you can put the heaters back in the sump.
I was looking at that. The problem I have, I think, is the heaters themselves. So I'm currently in the process of looking to upgrade that. But the one that I was looking at is actually I wish I could remember. It's the full titanium one.
Oh, the Finex?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, that's what I have.
So then
Well, I don't have that anymore, but that's what I have in Mollywood, but I have the radiant heating. Yeah, there's a suggestion here, and I was thinking this, a suggestion for your guests. The corals don't need that much aminos and ReefGrrl, especially when you're dealing with green hair algae.
The dosage that I've been using for it, I've really scaled it back. So like the ReefGrrl, I use far less than what it's called for. See if I can find the little scoop I have here.
Yeah, I do the same thing with all of that stuff because, it all adds up. And I once did a video where I lined up all of the products I was using around the top of my tank. It was ridiculous. And
Yeah.
then I pared it down to like 3 things. It's absolutely crazy how it accumulates.
Oh, it is. Yeah, the ReefGrrl's usually it's so little that I've never noticed a difference. Right now, my nitrates are sitting at 5. Phosphates were at 10. Nitrites 0. Ammonia 0. It's been surprisingly low, and I'm actually getting ahead of it now that I've started with Vibrant and NoPox. So
Right. So you say phosphate at 10?
yes,
Do you mean 0.1, or is that 10 on the ULR parts per
uh,
billion?
10 on the ULR.
Yeah. So that would be somewhere around 0.02, I think.
I think
In
that's what it converts to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty
So
low. I mean, I'm experiencing that now. I have 0 phosphate in my sump system, but the algae's eating it all.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what I've been kind of trying to get ahead of.
Yeah,
So
it's hard.
um, I haven't been able to get in the past couple days. I've been doing car work, so I've had some chemicals on my hands that I just do not want to put
Oh,
anywhere in my tank.
oh yeah, no kidding. Oh, hey, Pat Murphy. Murphy's Aquatics is here. Camaro Kid is here. Hello, guys. Be Speak. There we go. And Be Speak is also suggesting, as far as your temperature variation, maybe there's not enough flow through your sump.
In the area that the heaters were, that's what I was thinking. It's just right now I have to do a whole tear apart to
Yeah.
put everything back. Like I've recently upgraded my skimmer with a CO2 scrubber, putting the whole Neptune kit in, redoing my Chato after I dosed that by mistake.
Right.
So this is kind of
Yeah.
one of my favorite little guys right now. He's a
Halloween
Halloween
hermit
hermit,
crab. I love those things.
but his shell, if you see it there, is just amazing.
Wow. It looks like it's getting covered with some sort of plating coralline algae.
And there's actually nothing on there. That's actually all his shell directly.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. So, and I'll bring you over and show you the little
That is
tank.
really cool. Oh, hey,
So
Mr. DKH. Hello, Diacanthus. Nice to see you.
there we go. Oh, I know, guys. I know. So here's the little 12.5. We have one purple long tentacle.
Beautiful.
My wife's Darwins.
Yeah, I love the Darwins.
And then we got some red dragon's breath. A little bit of Kenya tree that somehow made it from one system to the other when we were doing a water change, I think. I kind of missed one, and she likes it. She wanted to keep it, so it stayed there.
Yep.
And there's the same one, the little pink guy that I showed you on mine in my wife's tank.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And are the very tips of the tentacles a different color? Like, are they purple or?
No, they're like I said, the main body on it is kind of like a white creamy color, and then the tips are just this beautiful translucent fluorescent pink.
Nice.
And then she has also decided that she wants to do a green wall, so that's her start.
Yeah. That looks like the GSP that has kind of corkscrew lashes on it.
Yes. Yeah, it's the longer version than what's in my tank.
Oh, that's cool.
And then she has currently, I think, a half dozen conchs in here.
Yeah.
And she has one, if I can find him, larger Halloween hermit of her own. There he is. You kind of just see the tip of him there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my tank setup. I'll have to forgive no, there's the rat cage. We have a bit of a zoo in this house.
Oh, I'm sure that people can relate. Oh, interesting.
Ah, there's my scoop hiding up under my light. So this is the scoop I was mentioning that I use
Oh,
for the ReefGrrl. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
literally, I think 0.05 milliliters.
Hmm. Yeah, you sure don't need much of that stuff. It
No.
goes a long way. And what do you have on there for flow?
The return flow is handled by Eco 1269, and it's currently set when I measured it at 1150 for return. So
Okay,
1150 gallons per hour.
right. And do you have
So it's,
any power heads
uh,
in there?
I do. There's two power heads, one on the right. Currently the tank's in feeder mode, so things are a little light on the flow. But I have the one that runs across the top there, and then the second one there that when they meet, they kind of turbulent through the middle, which
Yeah, yeah,
the tank seems to really enjoy.
yeah. I can see the anemone moving really nicely.
I wish he would come out a little bit more. Like I said, typically, like he covers this whole area up in here. Like
Hmm.
this whole front of the rock is just hidden when he comes out.
Camera shy.
I think it was my tank is set about an hour and a half ago. It would have gone into its sleep mode. So with my light changeover, I think that's what triggered him.
Yeah.
I've got everybody all confused by keeping the light on for you guys tonight.
And you have a pair of green chromis?
They're actually blue, and I
Okay.
also have a blue streak goby. If he will come out anywhere, I think he's currently hiding under his rock here. This large rock here in the middle. He's got that whole area underneath emptied out, and that's kind of his little cave.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
the pistol shrimp, as I mentioned earlier, like he's got one here, but he's actually hollowed out under that whole rock and gone all the way across.
They're amazing creatures. They just it always blew my mind how that area of my other tank, I called it the junkyard, because every day the rubble would be creating a different structure and be
Oh,
moved here
he's
and moved there. Like it's just amazing.
he's forever changing. Like a while ago, he had a door over here, and then that one closed up, and he moved over here. But then he was coming out from under my anemone, and then closed that one off and started coming out through the larger hole here. Oh, hey, my candy cane came out a little bit.
Oh,
He's sorry, peppermint shrimp. He's hiding there in the rock work. But then, yeah, then he put this one here. I woke up this morning to that. So,
have you ever tried putting like little bits of rubble and stuff on like nearby just to see what he'll do with it?
I have, and that's how I ended up with him burying one of my other corals. Unfortunately, he took out my plutonium trumpets.
Oh
In
dear.
retaliation. They used to sit over here in this area, and they, for whatever reason, they didn't seem to be big fans of the light setup that I had. So the one area I was able to get them to grow and seem to prosper was down in there. And then he just bulldozed all that sand you see there up and over top of them.
Oh boy, I like I said, they blow my mind with the stuff that they do. It just awesome to watch. Not always what you want them to do, though.
No.
Oh, Bert Minshew. Hey, Bert. He says, my pistol shrimp over 3 years, I've watched him kill 2 large cleaner shrimp, 8 peppermint shrimp, 1 fire shrimp, and his home is made of 20 eaten trochus and other snails he's eaten. Oh my God.
I've been pretty lucky. The only thing that he's killed so far has been the one the paired goby that he came into the tank with.
Well,
Um,
until I read what Bert said, I figure I was lucky to have Geronimo for like 2 years with no real problems, and he lived with a pair of gobies, and they were all quite happy together. Maybe it depends on the variety of pistol shrimp that you have.
I think that's a potential. I haven't been able to properly figure out much more than
Yeah,
it's a pistol shrimp yet.
yeah.
Like I know there's different variations, and so.
Yeah. Pat
Oh,
Mur
hey!
Pat
I
Murphy
just
says everything is food in the wild, expensive snacks.
very. I just noticed what my kids have dubbed the murder Death Star has actually made an appearance today.
Oh, oh yeah,
He
a serpent star.
Brittle Sea is.
Cool, cool, cool.
Let's see if I can get it without the glare. He's parked himself in behind the blower. Usually he hides down in this area, and all I ever see is like one little end of a tentacle sticking up from the hole.
He's probably
So
feeling the same way as everybody else. What the heck with these lights?
it's likely. What's really fun is when he does come out on occasion and he just takes up this whole viewing screen in the front.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, Bert
So
Minshew says he watched his carry an SPS frag with a plug up a giant rock. Couldn't believe it. That
I've
is
never
hilarious.
had any of that. Pretty much, I've been pretty lucky. Everything that I put in my tank stays where I've put it for the most part.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good thing. It's one of those things that I learned early on. And one of the reasons I've never had an anemone because I did not like the idea that it would not stay where I put it.
Well, that's actually how I ended up with that 12 and a half for the wife's. The purple long, he used to be in this location here where the red bubble took up space. But he would stretch himself out so much, he would literally be a foot and a half across.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's much happier. I was surprised to find out in the smaller tank. So he's him and his little clowns have been moved there, and they've all thrived in there, which is great to see. I didn't expect them with such a small tank, but I got it
Yeah,
for such a good price that couldn't argue.
yeah. That's what's cool about anemones and clownfish. They really are something beginners could have. I mean, with anemones, you do have to be a little cautious until your tank is more mature because they sort of seem to need that. But it's something that beginners can have and have success with and not have to have too much in the way of water or maintenance or anything like that, and yet still have something really cool.
Yeah. Well, the biggest one that I found, I learned the hard way is if you see on my blowers, they have what look like these cones around them.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And what that is plastic canvas that I've cut and with miniature zip ties built around them to keep him from doing that. Because I uh, I was at work one day and the wife called me quite concerned because he was just floating around the tank,
Oh,
and everything she could find was saying that the for whatever reason he didn't like where he was at and was searching for a new location, but that many times other people have had them just kind of go through their blowers and just ended up in bits.
yeah. Yep, that was my introduction to Nano Joe. Was his video about what happened when his anemone got shredded in a power head. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was, and even I mean, I started the hobby in 2010, late 2010, with a tank that was given to me with one clownfish, and that's what started me on the path with coral because I was looking for something for him. So I did all the research, and as soon as I learned that they move around a lot, I thought, I don't know. And so I ended up getting him a frog spawn instead and never looked back.
uh, I wait right now. I'm in the process. Once this quarantine is ready, these guys here are going to be coming out along with the goby, and I currently have on hold a foxface, a Niger trigger, and a blue-eyed coal tang that are all going to be coming home.
Right.
And they'll all join each other in the quarantine for a few months while I clear the display I have. Unfortunately, I had an ick outbreak, which cost me quite a few of my fish. I lost a Japanese swallowtail angel.
That's too bad.
My powder blue tang went. So
yeah,
and I lost all my clowns that continued in this tank, and my third chromis. So
yeah. Wow. Yeah, it sucks when that happens. I've only ever had it happen once in a nano. It came in on snails, and at the time I had a yellow clown goby, a green clown goby, and Swiss Guard basslet. And the basslet lasted the longest of all of them, but the gobies were pretty much wiped out within days.
I've been pretty lucky. Like the two chromie that I have here, my little peek and boo, as I call them, and my blue streak goby, they've never shown a single spot. They've never had loss of appetite, nothing. And unfortunately, the other ones, I literally lost them within, I don't know, 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange how it happens. Oh, hey, Alex G's Aquarium. Glad you could make it. Yep. And so this tank we're looking at now, is this the 90 or the 75 that you've got?
This is the 90. Currently
90.
the 75 has nothing but clean bottom. I'm thinking I'm going to do that one no sand and just straight up fowler. So fish only with live rock.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's the only way I'm going to get some of the fish I would love to have. And I've actually discussed with my husband that once I reach the point in my life where I might not be able to look after a full-fledged reef, I would certainly go in that direction, just so that I could continue to keep a tank.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've got a fish that I'm looking at is the Cuban hogfish.
Ah.
And that's what kind of put me on the fowler idea.
Yeah. I think, is that the same as the Spanish hogfish? Or are they different?
They're very similar from what I've been able to learn. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about them. I saw the coloration, I saw everything, and it just, feeding time has completed. So there goes my returns, and everything's up and running.
Nice. Well, we have, do you have any more tanks to show us? We have 3 more guests in the waiting room, and I thought maybe I could bring those.
Not.
Maybe I'll bring these guys in and they can chat with you. And
bring them on in.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for the tour.
You're welcome.
Nice to see.
I'll just drop that back off.
All right. We're going to bring True Skills, Aaron, Hector, and Alex G. Everybody all at once.
All the regular guys that I always see in here.
Yeah. And Hector and Alex. Wow. It's been a while since we've had so many people on the screen at the same time. So cool. Yeah. Hello. So before we go any further, Aaron, True Skills, I wanted to tell you, you remember, this is a while ago now, so you might not remember, or maybe you do, but remember you were telling us about the little Lithuanian guy who built stuff and nobody knew how he moved those 2-ton rocks and all that kind of thing?
Correct.
Oh, I think we just lost Mark. Oh, he's back. I'll bring him back again. Yeah, so I have to say, when I hear stuff like that, I always have to look it up because I want to know the story. And it's a thing. There was a guy who created carvings and like an amusement park type tour thing that you could go to in Florida, and it was like in the 50s, in the 40s rather.
And he's using multi-ton blocks.
Yeah.
he's moving them by himself. He's
Yeah.
100 pounds and he's like 5'2".
Yep, and it's called Coral Castle. So I just wanted to let you know, I looked it up and it is real. So there you go.
Just a matter of leverage.
Leverage, yeah. I guess that's how the Egyptians did it.
Oh,
Hey,
well,
hey, Salty
yes,
Reef.
but
Yeah.
at the same point in time, there'd be some times to where he would have his delivery driver show up with, 3 or 4, 5-ton blocks on it. And he'd tell the delivery driver to walk off. And the delivery driver would come back in 15 minutes and he would have all rocks undone off the truck by himself. And it took the delivery driver, a crane, and 3 guys in 2 hours to do it.
Wow, crazy
Just
man.
need a big enough lever, it'll do it.
Yep.
Very
Hey,
true.
Happy Reefer. Chad, how's it going? And Pat says he saw that on a TV show where the guy did it all at night so nobody could see it. Hey, Reef practitioners. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, cool.
I have the feeling if someone actually saw what was being done, they'd probably be like, wow, that's really not that difficult.
No. Nope.
Yeah, but you should see the size of these blocks.
Yeah. You never know. Salty Reef is working on a new 120. So excited for it to get wet. Wow. Cool. Very cool. So who wants to go first? What's new and exciting? Alex, we haven't had you here for a while, and Hector, you were on vacation. Let's find out what happened while Hector was on vacation.
Not much happened. Not much happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tank's looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. Came back home and everything was good. I guess the setup I did worked good. It was really good.
Cool. So no, nothing went wrong, and everybody was happy.
No. I mean, the only issue I had was with my stylo. Wasn't, I don't know, but it was way before I left on vacation.
Yeah.
Kind of like STN it a little bit, and I just decided to remove it from there. I fracked the life out of it, and now it's not doing so good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dying slowly. I don't know. It's polybell out. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it.
Huh. I maybe that's your nemesis. Maybe that's your coral that won't survive in your tank. We all have it.
It's strange because I mean when I had it was a 2-inch frag and it grew to a big colony, and then I fracked it and the other one grew too, and now I don't know. It just polybell out. And STN, I don't know, because it started from the middle part of it, and now it's just from everywhere. Little pieces here, little pieces there. So
yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Ryan McCallum, glad you could make it. And there's Marcus's Reef here. Cool. All right. Well, you know what, Hector? I'm really glad to hear that you have nothing to report, because that means that everything that you did worked. And if anybody hasn't seen Hector's video on 5 tips before you go on vacation, it's on his YouTube channel. Check it out, because they're basic and they make so much sense.
Yeah, they work perfect. Like, when you're on a trip, you worry about your tank and what's going to happen and if the setup is right. But after seeing so many people doing it, I think the way I did it, it worked for me, for my setup. So
Yep. T40 is wondering, Hector, how many fish you got in that 40 breeder now?
It still hit the same amount. I think about 12 fishes in total. But they all matter.
12?
The biggest one is the yellow tank.
Yeah. That's all right. I've got a purple and a Desjardins sailfin in a 40 in Mollywood, and it's really only like 32.
Yeah.
I think that's as much water as it holds. Yeah. Not good.
Here's a random question. We've been having a debate in my house. I know tangs get big. I know Regals get real big. But seeing his tank and my wife wanting tangs, how do you keep that many fish inside your tank, man?
Hey, it's all about maintenance. Maintenance, keep up with your filtration. Don't just add fish and lack on your filtration and your maintenance in your tank, just to keep up everything where it needs to be.
Well, I get that. Are you running skimmer, sump? Sorry, I'm new to your tank.
Yeah, skimmer, refugium, reactor.
Oh, okay. So you're
Weekly
going
water
full
change.
scale.
Yeah, weekly water change, and it's basically two systems together.
Gotcha.
So it's not only a 40. It's about 75 in total water volume.
Yeah, your maintenance schedule probably to a lot of people seems like overkill,
Yeah,
but you need it because of all the fish that you have.
yeah,
And I mean, the proof is in what we're seeing,
yeah, and I
you
feed a
know?
lot too.
Yeah.
I shortened myself in feeding so much, especially corals. I was just feeding coral for no reason. Um, you get caught up in this way of aminos and ReefGrrl and all this stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and I would say if you see a difference once you add in the tank and corals start growing faster, it's no reason to add that much food. For me, if nitrates and phosphates are present, just let them be. They'd be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it takes a while to reach that point,
Yeah.
because I think, and I remember going through that where I would watch my tank so much and I would be paying attention to what everybody else is doing and see what their results are.
Yeah.
And I'd be going, well, if I try this, maybe what I'm doing, maybe things will improve. And really, all you want to do is improve what's going on in your tank.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to be able to decide where to stop. Like,
Yeah.
what's the cutoff for that?
I was
And
feeling,
I think I still do too much.
yeah,
You
I
know?
was feeling too crazy every day. About 20 meals in total between ReefGrrl, aminos, and phyto.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Now all I do is just phyto every 2 days. Amino just once a week or once every 2 weeks. Now fish, I just flakes, and now today I'm giving them a treat with brine shrimp.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, I mean, the fish poo is
Yeah.
what makes the difference, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you guys, David Saxby, he's British. You probably all have heard of him. He's quite famous. He has a 3,000-gallon system in his home. I don't know what size his actual display tank is, maybe 1,000 gallons. And he has 400 fish. 400? 400
Isn't it a dude
fish?
that he feeds like 10 or 12 times a day?
Yeah, like or frequently. And that's what he says is that, the fish waste is
Mhm.
what he feels runs his tank as far
Yep.
as nutrients go. But the thing is, it's a fine line because you can't put too many fish in unless you have the filtration capability like you were talking about, Hector.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to handle the nutrient export
Yeah.
until your biological filtration catches up and can balance it out. And it takes a while to learn how to do that, what the signs are, what to measure, how to interpret
Mhm.
the results of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's yeah, I'm certainly not there
Even when
yet.
you buy a new fish, you can see the difference in the filtration right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I seen it. I'll be like, hold on, this wasn't here last week.
Yeah.
Certain little things that
Yeah.
notice it changed.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Ryan McCallan, remember you guys were talking about whether he should put all his clowns together at the same time in a tank? Well, here's the update. Tanks are doing good. All 4 clowns are getting along. The 2 new ones got the older one into the NEMs. Cool.
Look at that.
That's cool. Cool. Oh, and One Golf Jones. Can't wait to see everything Alex has accomplished since the last time. I know it will be amazing.
Take it, Alex. Take it.
Well, if you follow Alex on Instagram, you get to see pictures of Infinite wooden structures that go on forever, that actually are the stand for his new display. So yeah, it's getting there. And Murphy's Aquatic says, Aaron, you were asking about tangs. Most of them are okay to keep in smaller tanks. The only ones he doesn't recommend after experience are sailfin and the Atlantic blue, and obviously large ones like Naso and Flamingi. They just grow. Yeah, the the
Well, that
Desjardins
kind of
has.
kills that.
Pardon?
I said that kind of kills that because I was going for the sailfin instead of the yellow tang, or they had a small blue regal in there.
Yeah.
But I know they get big.
Yeah, the sailfin has potential for 16 inches in the wild, but in captivity, generally 12. And I won't keep, I mean, I'm getting a 300 gallon. It has, or whatever, 320. So it measures at 360. So the longest swimming distance is diagonal. It's just over 7 feet. And so the biggest fish I want is maxing out at 12 inches. And so I don't think I'll get anything that'll get bigger than the sailfin, because one fish at 12 inches in a tank that size, if it reaches that size, I'm going to probably have to rehome it, because I have a feeling it's just not going to have enough space.
Yeah. Well, I'm currently in a situation right now where I have a nasal that I bought it for a friend, and that friend didn't tell me that he already bought one, and now I'm stuck with it. Either I get a bigger tank, or I gotta find a home.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So it's a baby, but yeah, that's the scenario right now. It's gonna be there until then. I don't know if she moved to the 40 or set up the 75 I got until he get to a decent size, and then just until I can find a home.
Yep.
Unless
So
I get a big tank.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've had so many changes in your tanks in the last year or so.
Yeah. I don't want to keep changing more. I'm good where I'm at right now.
But you're an expert now at making changes.
You know, if I change it just to be that one tank and that's it. It gotta be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna glue that tank to that place. It's gonna be glue to that place. Silicone, crazy glue, even chewing gum. I'm gonna put on that thing. So I don't care.
Yeah. Murphy says they grow way too fast. Regals kind of grow slow. Yeah. So I guess Aaron, like if you do some research into that, there's usually people on forums that'll talk about specific fish. And I've mentioned right now I'm reading through 70 some pages about tang aggression, because I'm going to end up with at least 4, possibly 5. And I want to make sure I get them introduced properly. There's that infinity picture. Annie wants to know what you're conjuring up, and Insane Reefer is asking if you're testing, Alex. So,
I mean, I saw test tubes.
Why don't you tell us what you're up to?
Well, I was testing my phosphate, nitrate, and alk, so they're still low. So I'm slowly dealing with that though, because I decided to start dosing. Hey, back up a little, buddy. So nitrate and phosphate. Yeah, I have to get the gallon jugs. You're in the way. You're both in the way.
Hey, Gizmo.
That's that PO4 NO3 I was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just getting a little bit of phosphate finally showing up, and just a very tiny hint of nitrate. So.
And Alex, do you have algae growing in your refugium, like on those screens yet?
A little bit, but this is significantly more than what was there. I did go on vacation for a little over, a week. I was on vacation. Yep. So while I was out of town, this did darken up quite a bit, and there's just no nutrient levels in here, so there's not a lot to go. I mean, I'll say this: when I stomp on the floor at night, or tap the tank, this whole basically the whole bottom lights up now
Oh, cool.
like fireflies. So
That is cool.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get that on cam. I want to see that.
I posted a video on my YouTube not too long ago. I got another one. I published it, but I didn't put it out there normally, so I gotta do that. But it's a little bit longer of a clip where I got a lens I could finally capture it, and then the tank's doing okay. Nothing, there's a little bit more algae growing back over here, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, some of the corals. I mean, the only thing I was a little upset about is my $10 SPS colony that I fragged up bleached out. Although I don't think it's totally dead yet because it's been like that for almost a week. So
You never know.
It might have dumped the zooxanthellae, but it didn't completely die because the algae would have taken it over. There's one little piece over here. I mean, you look at it.
Yep.
You look at it this way, you can't see any pink on it. But I mean, I don't know. It might have been that I was dosing nitrate and phosphate, and then I suddenly stopped when I went on vacation.
Yeah.
So.
All right, what's your YouTube?
Alex G's Aquarium.
Gotcha.
So, fishies are doing good though.
And that's the Spanish hogfish.
Yep, that's the Spanish hog. Cuban hogs, I heard that earlier. They tend to be more white and red pink.
Oh, okay.
So same body style and everything, just different coloration. And then I don't think I could see them.
Ooh, the angel's looking good.
Oh yeah. Oh, don't get all pissy now. So, no, the ReefGrrl's doing well. There is a new member of the family in here that I just added today, and that's a single purple pseudochromis, which I was really happy the Spanish hog looked at it and didn't go, "You look tasty." So that worked out well.
Must be just big enough, or maybe the wrong color.
I think it's just because he's lived with them before. Oh, there he was for a second. Kinda, maybe. Where'd you go? Either way, I added 5 fish into the tank today. The pseudochromis over there. There's a pair of Bangai cardinals here. I don't see. I added a Talbot Stanzel and a Royal Grama too, which I don't expect to see the Royal Grama for a good week or so.
Yeah.
And the Talbot Stanzel was out and about, but I don't know. It's somewhere in here.
I can just imagine, because I have a hard time finding my little Royal Grandma in a 20 by 20 inch tank, in the 40. I can only imagine how hard it is to find it in 700 or whatever that is.
That's only 400.
Only 400.
There's not a lot of rock in here, though. I mean, the Royal Grama is probably somewhere in here, but I don't know. It'll show up in a week or so.
Yeah, I found out where mine sleeps. The rocks that are in Mollywood are sitting up on their little feet because there's no sand in there, and his little cave is under an overhang created by the bottom of a rock arch and on its foot. Okay. And I know exactly where to look for him now, so it's working out really good. Oh, hey, Marcus's Reef. He was hoping to make it on tonight, have to go. Maybe it'll work out next weekend. Well, thanks for coming by, Marcus. I seem to remember, Marcus, was it you that was excavating a crawl space or having to work in a crawl space to facilitate your tank setup? I can't remember.
That'd be some craziness.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's complimenting on the ReefGrrl Angel, Alex. Gorgeous fish.
Oh, yeah. She's a beauty.
Look at that.
Very nice.
I'm looking in the reflection of the tank here to put her in frame.
Yeah. Cool.
No, it's my LFS did me good there. He had that tank tear down, and he's like, "Dude, I know you want this fish."
Yeah, and she's not a misbar or anything. Like,
he told me where this person probably bought this fish from.
Yeah.
and I got a big discount on what they probably paid for it. Because he's like, I don't even want it in the store. It's so perfect.
Yeah.
So
Gorgeous. And how much bigger will the fish get?
oh, Regals?
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know what
crap.
their maximum size is.
I don't think these guys are as big as everyone else. I think maybe a couple more inches. Now you're throwing me to look at the book here.
Oh,
Hold
hey,
on.
Marcus says, yes, that was him. I remember that. I remember you were going in and out of that freaking crawl space
Rabbit fishes.
when we were on here.
All right, now I got to get my book.
You know what I found? I found the 101 best saltwater fish book when I was digging for, excavating some box for something the other day. So I pulled it out, angelfishes, yeah. And I put it right on my dining room table, and I've been looking through it. And the interesting thing is, I know there's all kinds of misinformation in there because of when it was published, like in 1995 or something like that. And some of the stuff has really, we've moved on since then.
Yeah, the keeping of fish themselves is that's changed a lot. And the only thing these books I usually look at they're good for identification.
Yep.
For me thinking about what I want. Let's see.
I like looking at
It
the
says they'll
pictures.
get up to 25 centimeters. So honestly, this is my first Regal. I never messed with them because they're they don't do well historically when you bring them in.
Diacanthus says, I'm not biased at all. I agree. Regals get to 25 centimeters, but grow quite slow. SL.
Yeah, I knew they were kind of slow, so I at least got that part right.
Oh, they're talking about crawl spaces now. Annie Jefferson says Richard Ross has all his stuff in a crawl space. Lordy, lordy, that's dedication. And Marcus says Joyce run the wrong way. Yeah, and he always goes over the top, overbuild. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Well, if they run the wrong way, just run new ones in the right way.
Simple. Yeah. So what did you get up to this week, Alex? What are you willing to show us?
All right, hold on. Let me turn the camera off for a second.
I'd be interested to know how many steps you take in that fish room as you're moving around in there, doing things.
All right, hold on. Let me swap my camera back around. Okay.
Wood.
So today I've just been up to getting a few stringers done, just because I want to get the front to back
Yep.
completed over here. So
Now this is the display stand that you're building in place.
Yep.
Like where it's going to go. Cool.
All right, little man.
There's a guy. I forget his name. What's his name?
That's Kylo.
Kylo.
What you doing?
Oh, the Min Pin mix.
So yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. And then when they're done, they look like this.
Yeah.
And then that's the other end of the thing.
So somebody go back and count them all.
Wow. I saw at least 9.
Oh, did we lose Alex? Yep.
Oh, he gave a long shot too.
Yeah. He was giving us the infinity shot. Oh, SL means standard length. Okay, thanks, Diacanthus. Meaning lengthwise to caudal tail base. Oh, I always wondered how those measurements are taken. Oh, there he is. Let's bring him back. Okay,
Sorry.
we lost you. You got fancy.
Sorry, I hit the back button or something. Oh, there you go.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's at least 9.
Holy smokes.
Sure. Whatever
Sure.
you say.
And so I remember, Alex, we were chatting about what you have to do here. And this is how complex it becomes. You have to level, measure, and cut every single one of those legs to accommodate variations in the floor because the floor is not flat. So wherever one of those legs rests on the floor, in order to keep the top flat, you have to make sure that it's fully supported and touching the floor. And so each one of those is a very slightly different length, right?
Yep. Hold on, I'm getting out my tool here for doing the measurements. So
Oh, hey, Nat King Reef. Welcome.
I invested in a laser level. You can't be over here, puppy. You can't look at the light.
Yeah.
So basically, I have 1/4-inch acrylic sitting on the top of this, and all the way down, I could shoot a line on top of this. So I essentially would build out the corners.
Oh, Lord, Jiminy Christmas, this thing's going to be huge.
So I put a 2x4 leg in each corner,
6, 7.
and then I have my sections that go that way, and then I'd level all 4 of them with the laser touching it, so that the laser is touching everything the way that it should.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got done with that and I got the 4 legs on it, then I'd start doing all the infills.
Yeah.
So that way, every one of them is cut to the height of the floor to make it level on this deck.
Yeah.
So when you look,
Wow.
Holy smokes. And it matters. I mean, the last thing you want is any pressure in any point.
well, and I'm sure there's gonna, that's why there's so many of them. I mean, there's 14 legs a section, except for the end, of course, which is a little different. But there's 14 2x4s. So a vertical 2x4 can hold between 600 and 800 pounds. So figure if you just go on the low end of that at 600 pounds, this right here between these two could hold about 1,200 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's way overbuilt,
Yeah.
way beyond by several factors. So
And so how did you, how can I put this? Did you have to make a lot of trips back and forth to get more wood, or were you able to figure out right in the beginning?
Well, I knew how much I was going to need, but I couldn't justify making the purchase all at once because lumber's been very high.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that when I look at this, it's just like this 2x4 costs like $8.25 a piece. And the ones on the other side of the tank now cost like $3.28 a piece.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So your average is a lot better than it would have been if you'd done the job really fast.
The other factor is too, I mean, it's all pretty much fresh lumber right now because there's such high demand. So
Yeah.
I'm on the legs. I'm a little less picky if the 2x4 is absolutely perfect. But on all these straight pieces here, I want to get as straight as I can to avoid bowing and warping. So what I've been doing is by buying small batch, I make sure I cut the straight ones as best I can because a couple batches I bought extra, and just because of the humidity levels and temperature differences between the store and my house, they'll start warping after a little while.
Yeah, I was going to ask you whether you did anything to dry them out, like clamp them or anything like that.
Once they're all screwed in place like this ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, are you going to be adding cross braces to that?
So there'll be a couple things here because of my distance front to back. I am going to add some kind of stringer in the middle. Sorry about that. Dog's barking. I am going to add some kind of stringer in the middle. I just haven't decided if it's going to be 1, 2, or 3 of them. and then the plywood on top is going to effectively lock the structure together. So there'll be either a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch layer of plywood on top, and that's going to lock the whole stand together. And then on the side of it, the top and bottom are held together by 2x6s, so that'll prevent it from going one direction or another to try and collapse that way.
Yeah.
So the plywood's going to be the main thing to lock it in final. So because every one of these has 6 screws in it.
Oh wow.
And then 2 on the ends, because really the weight is all on these, and the horizontals are literally just to kind of hold the structure together. They're not intended to take a lot of vertical shear or anything on them. They're just meant to hold it all together.
Right.
And I use this same exact stand design for my 700 and my 480. So
Yep.
it's held up for years. And the nice thing is, if it ever had to be disassembled, it's possible to do it with this. So.
Yep. Yeah, because you were able to salvage parts of the other stand.
I salvaged 100% of the stands in my old tanks.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, hey, MB Reef. Welcome. Yeah, Bert Minshew is wondering if you got your butler to go and get all the wood for you.
Yeah, I don't think so. I do this all myself and load it into my car. If anything, I probably get a lot of strange looks from people going, "Why are you loading that much lumber in a car? Why don't you own a truck?"
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Oh, hey, Straight Reefer. Glad you could make it. Yep.
I'm the same way. I made my car to be a pickup truck or a truck.
Hey, as long as I got a ratchet strap, I can tie it. I could cinch it all down. It ain't going nowhere. I learned that lesson a long time ago.
Bring back the El Camino.
I just, hey, the one time with my wife in the car, and I was like, I just need a sheet of plywood. And I remember her going, "That looks like it might fall out the back of the car." And I said, "Don't worry about it. It's not going anywhere." And the next thing I know, it's spilling out behind the car in a 45-mile-an-hour road on a hill.
And that only ever happens when you have your wife with you and you just said, "Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen."
Done it 10 other times, never had a problem. had to pick up the sheets of plywood and run them about a 1/4 mile to the car and then retie them down.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, I learned that lesson.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, the stand's coming along, and I'm thinking in the next month or so, I'm going to finish all the legs and have them done for the whole thing. And then the next thing will be a plywood for the top. And it's probably going to be, I still haven't fully decided yet. It's either going to be 2 inches thick or 2 1/4 inches thick of plywood on top of this for the tank base. And that'll be the bottom of the tank.
Wow.
So
hey, Broke Reef Man 45. Sorry, taking a break to join us.
First layer will be screwed down on top of this to lock this in, and then the subsequent 2 layers are gonna float on top of the first layer. I'm not gonna glue it, but they're probably gonna get glued and laminated to each other.
Right.
And then the plywood's actually gonna overhang by 6 inches all the way around, and that's gonna become, the edge of the glass will technically be right around here, but there'll be at least a 2x6 in this area with another piece held out to accommodate probably about a 2.5 inch overlap for the glass. It'll probably be more realistically 2 inches because everything inside that lip is going to get fiberglassed and epoxied.
Right. And are you using the same method that you used to build your 400? You know how you put the glass in and it kind of floated on the front?
Yep.
You supported it? Yeah.
It'll be the same kind of method, except it'll be all glass sides and no plywood back. It'll just be plywood and fiberglass on the bottom.
Right. Bert Minshew wants to know whether NASA is building your skimmer and UV now.
See, but that wouldn't be fun because then I'm not be able to build them. I got my skimmer already.
Yeah, that's
I just
right.
got to mod it a little bit. And then the UV, those aren't really worthwhile to me to try and build.
No.
So I'm going to buy a second one and add it onto the system once this tank's running.
And so, what do you figure your skimmer will be rated for once you
I
do
don't
all
know.
your mods? You know me, I'm just trying to get a number out of you.
It would be several thousand gallons of water
Yeah,
is what it'll
several.
be rated for, and probably be able to do far more than that because I'm still not exactly sure on what I'm going to do with it. We can walk back there. Let me just cover this up for a second.
Yep, because I mean, it's going to be the big reveal at some point. So yeah, the skimmer. I was just thinking, you have so many ways of upgrading that thing, kind of in a modular way, to get
Well,
more performance out of it, right?
so I added an outside air draw.
Rated for Orca.
So this is my outside air draw that it goes in there, and then, well, it's not the best of rig things, but it comes over here, and then this is my air filter on it. This is all carbon in here,
Yep.
and then it keeps going over there. Hold on.
Bert Minshew says you should call that the Shamu skimmer.
And then it comes up here and then outside. So the one thing, even though it's drawing air pretty good down that way, there is a fair amount of air pressure it needs to overcome. And boy, is that thing slinking along to get over there. I'm really deeply thinking I'm going to buy a 4-inch duct fan to create more air pressure to push it into the skimmer. Because it pulls air and it's working, but the higher the water level is in the skimmer, the harder it is on this Venturi to pull.
Yeah.
And the only options are to put a bigger motor on it, or in order to help the air in would be to increase the positive pressure in the airline coming into this. So that's what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a 4-inch duct fan and then I'm going to take it from 4-inch and reduce it to 1 inch on each side and see how much more air pressure I could put into it. Because my pH, when I added this, I was a little surprised the pH didn't get higher. It's still flirting in that like almost 8.0 range, but I'm not really adding a lot of calc right now. But I'm kind of interested to see if I increase that air pressure, how much more air from the outside I can dump into this
Without the pipes bursting.
Well, I don't think that would happen.
No.
But I mean, the Venturi's on, so it's going to help it out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bert's asking if you keep fish in there, but no, I think it's full of foam, isn't it?
What, in the skimmer?
Yeah.
It'd be funny one day if I look in there one day, there's plenty of other life that shows up in there. I had a plethora of sponges and other small things in there before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all foam from the water level up, right?
Yeah, you could see it already starting to come in here. And then the water level is actually right around here. So from here on up is all
cool.
There's not a lot to get produced right now, but I mean, you can see it has a decent amount of air pressure here, but I really do contemplate if I inject more air, how much more I could pull out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about it yet because I technically doubled my fish count today.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though all of those fish combined don't even equal the size of one of these two. Gizmo, what are you doing?
Gizmo
So-
just wants to spend time with his dad.
Yeah, Gizmo's doing inappropriate things for the live stream right now. Hey, come here. God, you're 15 years old. Come here, buddy. Sorry.
Cool.
But yeah, so those things have, it's coming along. I still have to eventually deal with this at some point, but I'm going to have to make a rock shattering booth. I think I might make my aquascaping terminal right here to work on that.
Yeah. Well, you could
So-
always create some sort of a catapult and aim it at a block wall. That'd be fun.
It would be fun. What do you want? What?
What a
right,
sweetheart.
Food,
Hello.
food, snacks, treats.
Are you upset because there's another doggy in the house getting dog sat right now? I know.
Oh, they're going, how come we're down here? We
Yeah,
watch what's
they're-
going on upstairs.
So, but my feather duster population's doing good, and then
Yeah.
pretty much this whole screen has got bioluminescent organisms scattered around on it. So I pretty much have every single, well, let's see, this tank, the 125, the 400, and then one of the water storage tanks I've seen bioluminescent activity in so far.
Wow.
So I won't be long probably before this tank, the 500 over there, and then
Yep.
the other water storage tank get it too.
Yep.
But yeah, no, things are slowly coming along. So I'm looking forward to next weekend too. I'm going to go to Aquashella.
Oh, right. That's happening. Yeah.
So should be fun, a good distraction. Maybe I'll buy a couple corals. We'll see.
Andrew Hudson wants to know how many people you're going to hire to clean the glass.
It's not that bad. I got my big Max here. I actually just cleaned
Yeah.
everything the other day.
I just bought one of those, and it's going to come when the high range nitrate checker comes in stock here in Canada. I placed an order, and it included the new Hanna nitrate checker, and a couple other things, including a Flipper Max, because I'm going to have 5/8 inch glass, and I have
So-
nothing that will work with that.
This is the original blade that I bought with this like 3 years ago.
Wow.
But I don't leave. Some people like to leave them in the tank. Don't leave it in the tank.
Nope.
And then every single time I use it, because I pretty much just use the blade, I always run my fingers across it
Yeah.
to see if it's got any kind of, divots or gouge in the metal or something. Because I always see people get upset because they're like, well, I scratched well, I'm not even going to go down the acrylic road, but look at that and it'll scratch. But, they scratch the glass tank up and it's like, well, you still got to be careful. It's like, if I ever do this where I have sand, like the sand is done by itself first.
Yeah.
And then if I don't trust it, I pull it out and check it again.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just avoid it and use a double-sided razor blade for that.
Yeah. Very cool. So the secondary sump, I see you just walked by there. What's happening in there these days? Have you put anything in there?
No, just that load of rock that I got from that tank tear down.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I'm proving the theory that Aptasia don't really need light, although technically it gets a little spillover from this tank. I've had to nuke some Manjanos and Aptasia that I got with that rock, but
Oh, yeah.
let me see. Where's my filter at? Let's see if I got my filter over here.
Oh, hey, Annie, you're talking about reagent for the nitrate checker. Yeah, I did place, when I place my order, I always get, especially if I get a new checker, I always get extra reagent. So I have ordered it, and they're not going to ship until they have everything. And he was thinking it was all going to be in within a week or so, and that was a week ago. So I got to follow up with him on Monday. And oh, hey, Garrett, Algae Warriors here, and figure it out. Bert Minshew is saying, I would put a pressure relief valve on that skimmer. Potential bomb. That joker is really working. I think the lid would come right off, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's all the air's got to come out of there. Although I have explored the idea of oh, there's my little Albert stencil.
Oh, that's really pretty.
Yeah, no, they had a few of them, and I said, let's just get one, see how he does. What are you crying about, buddy? No, you can't cry anymore.
This is looking good.
Alex, is that an ACAN off to your left there? Yeah, right in the corner there.
That?
Nope, just to the right.
Oh, candy cane.
Oh,
Plastria, then
the coloration on that is absolutely gorgeous.
yeah, this one's got some really cool, like, it shows up a lot more on the orange filter where it's got a real intense neon center. I lost my ultra, like the nuclear green one. I got to get that back. I actually saw somebody, and they might even
Like
be on.
the plutonium ones?
Yeah, because I saw someone, they did like they put 2 frags of them together and it grew into this really cool, like, double colony.
I was going to say, like, I had plutonium until unfortunate instances occurred.
Yeah, but no, the mushrooms are doing good. My bounce is doing all right back there, and Bubbles been steady.
Yep, it's
Hasn't
looking good.
hasn't had any more die off from the looks of it. Seems like it's somewhat stabilized. We'll see though. With the frog spawns back there doing good. The new Bubbles looking good.
Yep.
The coral it's lightened up in color slightly, but I have the feeling that's just because of the lack of nitrates and phosphates. Because a lot of my soft corals are kind of looking a little sad right now, and I think that's why.
Yeah. Wouldn't
so-
surprise me. Diacanthus says, now I just need to outdo Alex by about 150 to 180 times, and I might be able to have a manta ray.
I won't have a big enough tank for a manta ray.
Oh, we're starting to define parameters now.
Well, I'll give you so I told you it's 32 inches tall.
Yep.
That's how high it'll be. And it will be 6 feet from the front to the back.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That's amazing. Bert is just saying if algae glues it on and boom, I think he's thinking of the lid on your skimmer. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and he says if he was you, he would get a walrus. But you have to have you need emergent rocks for that though, right? So
that sounds like a lot of permits.
Yeah.
Well, the air pressure in here really isn't too bad. The only thing that would limit it would be the holes on here, which I actually have thought about. I've thought about increasing them, but honestly, with my old system, when I first ran the UV on it, the foam got thick enough to start lifting the lid off.
I remember that.
And I had to put a 5-gallon bucket on it with some water or sand in it to keep it from lifting off.
Hey, Sean's fish takes. Yeah, it's a monster.
So, no, things are, I mean, it's like anything else here. I mean, it's going to take me, I'm going to say at least 6 months to kind of stabilize out the water chemistry.
Yeah. And is that nitrated phosphate you're pouring in there?
Yeah. A full dose.
Wow.
So, which from the Fish of Hex thing, it's Hold on, I gotta look at my paper now. It's 168 mils of nitrate and 42 mils of phosphate.
Wow, the gallon's
So-
not going to last long.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I need it to last a while. So, no, it's all running pretty good, and then all the plumbing back here, everything's been doing good with this so far.
Yeah,
There's bioluminescence in the bottom corner. I hit this one, so I
that
don't.
is so cool.
Yeah, I don't have the water change station done yet, although I've been holding off on it. That's like the only component I got to do back here still. That's like major. So
Yeah. Yeah, Diacanthus is suggesting the coconut oil around the top of your skimmer,
coconut.
the cup, because it helps break down the foam. So yeah, I've seen that with instances, where you get the foam coming up and it won't quite come over the top of the neck and into the cup. Apparently, coconut oil helps with that too.
Yeah, and that's where I'm kind of debating right now is, do I, and I've thought about doing a kind of 3D printed custom wiper for the skimmer neck. That would be like a big, oh, what the heck, like a big threaded
Auger.
screw, basically. Yeah, like an auger.
Like an auger, yeah.
Or an Archimedes screw or whatever they call them, where it would just pull that up over the sides. I've also been thinking about, I wonder if, when a skimmer starts to foam like really crazy, like you just get too much air in it and the thing's like producing just water. I almost wonder if I could do that same effect by dumping in a huge amount of air into the skimmer for like a few minutes or periodically. Like, and this is just way out there, but like almost think like an air compressor tank dumps in this thing. It just like pulls all that air pressure and water up to just clean the neck out that way.
Yeah, I guess it would
I don't
depend
know. I don't know how it would actually work. It would need testing, but
it would depend how often you do it too, because I don't know, like just from the way that stuff tends to become gelatinous, as it builds up. Yeah, and yet just a tap. If you just run the tap down the inside of a dirty, chunky skimmer neck, the stuff just washes off.
Yeah.
So, in theory, I could see what you're saying would work.
Yeah, I definitely have to do some testing because I think the auger would work well too. But I don't know. The problem is there's no bioload to really mess around with this a whole lot, other than some increased air injection to try and get the pH up a bit.
Yeah.
So, which the stir is still doing its magic.
Yeah.
So
cool. Yeah, it's really hard looking at all of that, it's hard for people to grasp the scale of it because it just looks like normal equipment until you pick up the skimmer cup and it's bigger than your head. Well, it's the size of a 5-gallon bucket, right?
Cindy, I'm gonna have to just keep one of these here.
I think so, because we go through this every time.
I don't know why I haven't. I'm just gonna make the Home Depot bucket ain't big enough.
It's bigger than a 5-gallon bucket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, I know. Just wait until the display is ready to get shown, and then people are really gonna think I'm nuts.
I'm kind of thinking, a lot of people are on the way there now. Holy smokes. Just the scale of it. I love it. I got to drive a tugboat in Halifax Harbor once to go and pull a container ship off of a pier that was up against because of something happened with the wind. I don't know. And my friend who I was staying with, her husband was in charge of ECTUG, Eastern Canada something towing group. And I also got a tour of the boat, and in the engine room, of course, a diesel engine, the pistons on the thing were 8 feet tall, I want to say.
Jeez.
And like 3 feet across. And being in that room, of course, you have ear protection. You could actually feel it in your whole body when that engine was running. It was just unbelievable. And ever since that time, I just love big stuff that like the engineering that goes behind it and who thought it up and all of the development and like just amazing. And I don't know if you've read One Good Turn, but it's a book about the history of the screw. And it's fascinating. SeaWorld. Cool. Anyway, so when I see this, the size of what you're doing, I just absolutely, I'm agog. I just love it. Oh, they're hanging out together now. They're worried about you.
No, they're just like, you won't let us upstairs. Yeah, I gotta say, going away for vacation for a week for the first time, it like anything else, always a little nerve wracking. Had my emergency kit there on standby, but
Yeah.
no need for it, luckily.
And so, did you have someone look after it? Like, did your wife help you out with looking after it and checking on things, or what did you do?
I just had her come down here. I said, come down once or twice a day. And then, well, I have automatic fish feeder here.
Yeah.
And then I got one. Walk around. Got to walk through the maze. And I got another one over here.
Right.
So I put them up. I love those little Eheim ones. They've been very reliable. They're simple. They're not overly fancy or anything.
Yeah.
And they just work. So I'm good with that.
Yep. Diacantha says you got to be a little nuts to have a skimmer you could curl up and sleep in. You got to be a lot nuts to invest what many of us do in this hobby. So it's really not a big jump. Very true.
Yeah, and I always try to stretch things out, building stuff myself. I really want to, after I get this whole thing done and it's up and running and everything, I really want to invite like some builders over and be like, how much would you charge someone to do this? Like if someone came in here and you had a client that said, I want this exact same thing, you tell me how much.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Hector. His phone must have run out of juice. We lost True Skills. Maybe they ran out of battery. That seems to happen.
I behaved. I have my phone on the charger today. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed on this SPS, but yeah, honestly. The fact that it hasn't turned brown yet for algae overgrowing, it's kind of interesting because I don't know when it did that. And there's right on the center there's still a little piece of that left. It was like the one frag that had started STNing that I left it. I said, nah, it'll never make it. And that's the piece that's alive. And the other ones that were all, they're the ones that are bleached out, which there was no major water changes or water parameter changes. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's just the nutrient thing.
It could be because I've been dosing it for a few days and then I really wasn't seeing anything. And I said, well, I'll just go ahead and hold off while I'm on vacation. And then I don't know, maybe that kind of upset them.
Yeah, so. And I was thinking about this the other day, and we talk about how it takes a while to learn to keep your hands out of the tank. And by that, I include things like making adjustments and stuff like that. But like sometimes you have to do something because whatever the problem is not going to correct itself. It's just really a huge learning curve to figure out when that is. And that's what I'm encountering now with this whole phosphate thing. So I'm hoping the fluconazole, once the algae starts going away, that I'll be able to get a measurable phosphate reading again so that I'll know for sure there's enough for the coral. Because it's only a couple of them and ones that I would not expect. Like it's
Yeah.
it's LPS, the Cyphastrea, branching Cyphastrea, and the Turbinaria. It's not the SPS, although there are a couple that are not happy.
Yeah, of course, the softies that I cherish the most, the Stereonepthias, those are the ones that have gone to crap. And
yeah,
my giant Xenia, there's still a tiny piece of that holding on. There's some tiny pieces of Stereonepthia holding on.
yeah,
and I'm like, I really didn't care. Like the SPS could have all died and I would have been okay.
yeah,
But it's, and that's why I'm like, I'm not feeling too bad. Like I'm dosing I'm just doing the dose that Travis has marked on here for his normal dosage. And I mean, I do see a tiny hint of nitrate in the water and a tiny hint of phosphate now.
yeah.
It's just that there's so much in here, and I probably should start turning the light cycle on my refugium down.
Have you thought about maybe putting some like coral food in there? Like just
I just dumped some reefroids in there after I got done water testing.
yeah, like
I
just to give the softies something to
I've been
grab
dumping
onto,
in a lot of frozen food way beyond what the fish can eat. Just to like I actually did kind of do that with some PE mysis. Like I thawed some out. I mixed up the water and I let it settle. And I did a phosphate test on the water itself.
Yeah.
And it was like off the scale. So I'm like,
Yeah.
and that's the only other thing I could think of right now is that when I went on vacation, I wasn't feeding fish food the way I was.
Yeah.
And that's the only other thing I could attribute to the SPS. They're getting a little upset, although it is a red dragon. So
Yeah.
those things could do really good. And then sometimes they just get angry at you. So
Oh, hey, good night, Andrew. Andrew Hudson's got to go, nearly 3 in the morning here. We'll see the rest on catch up. Awesome. Thanks for coming by. And Annie Jefferson is just wondering about shutting the skimmer off until the numbers come up a bit.
I had it off for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It didn't do a lot, but the only thing, it's kind of a little trade-off there because it's like my pH dipped a little bit with it off, and it's my pH isn't where I'd like it to be, but I'm still. I don't know. I kind of look at it as just a balancing thing. So because when I'm adding the nitrate phosphate in that form, it's not going to come out in the skimmer now. So
yeah. Well, you're adding it
What are
right by
you
the skimmer.
What are you aiming at for your pH, Alex?
Oh, I would love to be able to get it up to about 8.4, but I'm not at the consumption yet to start dumping that much kalkwasser in there. So
That's one thing I haven't done with mine, but I found like everybody curdles their nose at me, but I switched to a CO2 scrubber, and I went from 7.6 to 8.
Yeah, I know. So I have some friends that have like coral farms, and they've been kind of messing with the same thing, like because they're like, yeah, it sounds, really watching your pH is more and more becoming something looked at, and they use the air scrubber stuff, and they're like, man, do you burn through that crap fast? But like they were telling me, even in a building with just 2 people working, they were like, we were burning through that stuff at really high levels. Like you can notice it in the pH graph within a few days of it going in there that it cuts down. And I mean, essentially, that from my understanding of how kalkwasser works, I mean, that's kind of the same thing, is that it's pulling that carbonic acid out of the water in part.
Yeah.
Um,
I
Travis,
cut.
I,
Oh,
I
go ahead.
bet I bet you Travis could make you a CO2 scrubber recirculating thing for your skimmer cup, Alex. I don't know if you're familiar with what he's
You
been
know what? I
doing.
saw that he had those, and I've thought about making one of those and putting it on. I just
Yeah,
I'm
and
I'm trying to be slow and methodical, because
yeah.
my other thing is too is I got to do a little more just like scientific reading about, because I'm the only thing I can think about with my yard is it is fenced, and if the wind's not blowing on that side of the house, could there be CO2 piling up?
Oh
You
yeah,
know, outside, maybe I got to change my air draw a little bit,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
I'm just trying to take it slow.
I got lucky with mine, and I did a recirculation. So what I did is sealed up the top of my skimmer, put the drain valve onto it, and my CO2 scrubber pulls the air from the top of my skimmer cup.
Okay.
And well, I bought a 1.3 kilogram bucket, and it's lasted me a month now. And putting the recirculation onto it doubled the length that I had. I mean, I've got a quite a busy house. I mean, I've got dog, cat, rats, the tanks, 5 children.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
a
thing is
busy
that,
home.
yeah, I don't, it's just my wife and I and our two dogs. And well, I noticed when I was out of town, the pH actually went up more. And I was like, oh, cool, like it's going up. And then then I come home, I'm like, oh, it's me. Like you can have high pH, you just aren't allowed to go into that part of the house at all.
Well,
But
all you need, just get scuba. I mean, just go do
well,
above water scuba and recirculate your oxygen. And well, no, I guess the CO2 would still come out, wouldn't it? Never mind.
well, the other challenge here is that, so like this is my dehumidifier exhaust right here. So right now the dehumidifier, all the air that it draws, it dumps back into this room. And this room it's all plastified. I usually keep the door open because the humidity is controlled so well in here, it really doesn't have a chance to creep anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wonder when I eventually duct this airline out, and it starts pulling air through the canopy of the main display and pulling it through, and I still keep a negative pressure in this room to pull air in, how much that might impact my pH too.
Yeah.
So
I think at that point you'll probably see a bit of a small, if nothing, you'll see a small spike.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of want to take this outside air draw, because it's such a long haul, even at a 1-inch line. If I get a 4-inch duct fan and put it in here, I've been looking at some controllable ones, and I get that on, I take it and I plug it in and I start pushing air pressure on here and I can increase it. I think that would help, but I honestly feel that the one thing I'm lacking here to really be better understanding here is a CO2 monitor.
Oh yeah.
And I really want to get one so I can measure in here, see what the basement's at, see what outside is at, and see if I'm really doing like a good job with it, that, to see how it's helping. The only other problem I got out here, at least, it's kind of on and off, but we do have wildfire smoke and stuff that it hasn't really been down low in the atmosphere, but it has been higher up and hazing days out periodically. And I don't know how much that might impact those levels locally. So I really got to do that measurement and understand, is the air I'm drawing in really that much lower? Because I've also got a vent fan in my house that's constantly kicking on every 10, 15 minutes and just venting outside to help keep the air exchanged in the house.
Yeah, we have one of those.
So I really feel that's the one thing if I can't measure it, I can't really understand it the way I need to.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny Martinez, glad you could make it tonight. Johnny says, Alex G, I know you'll figure it all out. Your tank is still an awesome tank.
Yeah, the one thing you can't really see it in here, but like there's coralline algae starting to grow on the rocks again, and I'm like so ecstatic about that because I'm like, that's like the first big thing for me to go. When I start to see coralline taking off, I know things are heading in the right direction.
Yeah. Bert Minshew says, please don't pull air from that skimmer to outside because we all need to breathe.
No, it's my air.
Yeah. Oh, hey,
gonna be
ATF. Yeah.
It's going to be like Spaceballs. I'm going to sell canned air.
ATF in the house. Glad you could make it. Annie Jefferson. Annie's in construction, if I remember right. She says she'd run venting out with an exhaust fan at the end to pull through the vent. Second floor. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what's happening now is that there is a vent fan on the main floor of the house that's pulling air out.
Yeah.
So
you already have that.
Yeah, the problem is down here is that this room is still kind of isolated, which is why I've been keeping the door open. You know, my furnace return, the other one is over here.
The cold air, yeah.
Yeah, the other one's on the main floor, but I really do want to exhaust my dehumidifier air back into the main part of the basement. I'll have to help create a negative pressure to draw air from the canopy of the fish tank. And I'm hoping that helps too, because then it'll be recirculating the whole basement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I could see that the skimmer air draw is not enough on its own, my basement window is going to be right next to the side of the tank, and I might install another air exchanger vent there too.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we put a window right beside the sump area, was for exactly that. If we needed to install any kind of an exhaust fan, or if I do want to run outside air into my skimmer or for any other reason, having a window there really helps. Annie says it's got to come directly from that room. Interesting.
Oh, to draw outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the problem in here is that it's just all kind of contained, and by pulling it outside, it would help create a negative pressure to pull in, which eventually it'll get. It's just until the main display's online, or I duct that dehumidifier outside, or outside this room, I should say. I'm not going to get much of that.
Yeah.
So,
well, like you say, baby steps. I mean, it's one of those things you have to figure out because you haven't run into this before at this scale.
I'll have to redo this. Hope everybody likes my very temporary thing here, which, I'm going to have to clean my air filter. I could see already.
We've been cleaning ours I say I mean my husband has swapped our furnace filter out once a month since we moved here, and they're still filthy. There's just so much dust around, and construction dust from the house, and it's crazy.
I took care of most of that coming from the floor.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Now I see little piles of dust on this plastic every now and I'm like, where'd that come from? And then I'm like, well,
new construction.
Because the house is dirty. So.
Yeah, well, all the materials they use, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because the materials are outside and they don't wipe them all down before they put them in the house, right? They just essentially cover it all up. So they're going to be dirty.
I'll tell you what, though, that's a thing of beauty right there with the humidity levels in here.
Yep.
44%. I couldn't even get it this low in my old fish room.
Yeah.
That
And you,
dehumidifier rocks.
and you don't need to worry about moisture getting into your ceiling wood because you got it all covered with plastic.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the whole point of it, is to avoid it from becoming a sponge.
Yep.
So even though people think that I might be doing some kind of Dexter thing down here, that's not what it is. It's just to try and contain moisture.
You got to feed them
So
fish somehow.
I don't have any sharks yet, so
Cool.
yeah,
My
I'm
phone
looking.
is.
Go
Sorry?
ahead.
No, I was going to say my phone is just about to die here, so I'm going to have to step out for the night. But thank you so much for having me tonight.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming in, Mark. I appreciate it. And I know it's not easy, and you did great for your first time. It was awesome. Appreciate the tour, and come back anytime.
Yeah, good talking to you.
Sounds great. Hopefully, if things work out proper, I'll have a little bit of a cleaner tank there than I did this week.
Yep. Hey, we've all been there.
Yeah.
You know,
Probably looks better than mine. They're not exactly looking tip top.
Well, I'm currently battling out my my hair algae, so I
wish
haven't
I
been
had
able to
hair
put
algae.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you
you've
what, I'll
gone.
box some up and send it.
It'll all die. It has no nutrients. That's the problem.
You've gone from one extreme to the other.
It's trying on one rock.
Okay, well, you know, got to start somewhere.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting here. It's surprising, but like my gonies, I've got some short gonopora on a frag, and they look like they've got this big old afro of green hair, but they're all just beautifully puffed up almost all the time. Like they seem to love having that just mat over top of them.
Yeah, they like high nutrients, so
I think they're one of my few. I know. Well, my green stars are not very happy. They've, except for the older sections of the colony, they're all just very minimal polyp extension.
Yeah, green stars are weird that way. Sometimes they close up for no reason that you can figure out, and then all of a sudden one day they decide it's all good again.
I got the same thing going on with my clove polyps back there. They open a little, but they're not really they're just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. My 90, everything, I'm like, it's been, one little fight after another. My wife's little 12 and a half, and, sure, it doesn't have a ton in it, but I could neglect that thing for 3 weeks and I don't think I'd ever see a problem.
Yeah, there's always, getting that balance. Every tank, you got to kind of find its rhythm, and I'm in the middle of it right now. It doesn't matter how much experience or what size tank it is. They all have that, and they all take time to kind of balance out and figure them out.
Yeah.
By the way, Reef, if you switch over with my blue lights on, you can really see that little weird anemone that I had there that I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
He glows so brightly at night.
And you said you have two of these, one here and one in the other tank on the side?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'll switch over to the other tank here.
Is it really flat? It almost looks like a rock flower.
That's what we're wondering, but
no, it's more bulbous, like the bubble tips almost.
Mm.
But like he just reflects the blue lights when they come on at night. Like that whole rock, like you can see, is just lit up from him.
Doesn't look like a Mangiano, because they're typically more of a green or a dullish red I've seen.
Yeah, this guy is it's a pale whitish base and then translucent pink tentacles.
Diacanthus is wondering if it's a Syriantherian.
How long has it been there?
I just recently got them, so they've been less than a week. This guy here was probably, oh God, the size of a pencil eraser. But in just that week, he's just exploded and he's continuing to grow.
So you bought him?
Actually, he was a gift.
Hmm.
They were cleaning out their tanks, and I just happened to be there, and they were like, asked, "Hey, do you want this?" And I went, "Yeah, free stuff's awesome." So they in they went.
Yeah.
Oh, Diacanthus, you mean a tube anemone? I just looked up Syriantheria. Is that what? No.
I didn't
That's
think
not
those
what
were very
Aptasia are.
fluorescent, though. But I guess
No.
I've never really.
This one has more of a. I wonder if it's a type of. It's not a type of sea bay or something, is it? Like they're usually really light. I don't think I've ever seen one that's this color.
It's almost one of those things where you might have to just watch and wait, and like that. There's part of me that almost wants to say, like, have you touched it to see if it feels really sticky or not? But
it feels exactly like the long tentacle purple that I have. Sticky tentacles, almost a squishy rubbery base.
Yeah, I'd just leave it alone for a while and see what it does. If it seems happy, and hopefully it keeps its color and everything. I mean, if it's looking really kind of pink and translucent, it could be a bit bleached. But I mean, the thing's got some pretty high reflectivity on it for the fluorescence. So
yeah, and my LFS had one, and I mean he was, oh God, he had to easily be 2 inches, but he was still translucent. He is, like, the tentacles have that pinkish to them, but that translucency was just continuous.
yeah, you probably need to get some good pictures of it without the fluorescence on it to see what it to see like a polyp structure.
Yeah, the body shape and everything. Bert Minshew is wondering if it's a Haitian anemone. And I just looked it up, and they seem to come in a lot of different colors. So I don't know, Mark, maybe look up Haitian anemone and see whether it resembles anything.
I'm definitely going to do that. Once the laptop decides to actually play nice with others, I'll definitely have to go back.
One, but I mean, it's not impossible. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta kind of let it grow and see what it does.
Yep. And has it moved from where you first put it?
Originally, yeah. So originally he was at the top of the rock, and then I went out, had supper, came back, and he'd moved himself down and kind of stuck himself in that little crevice there. It's been 2 days that he's down there. Oh yeah, now you come out, you stinker. See if I can. Where are you hiding now? If you can sit on. Yeah, he's laying on the back there. But yeah, my Goby finally decided to make a presentation of himself, along with my my peppermint shrimp hiding there in the middle, doing his little dancing.
In another 6 months, you might see him again.
Yeah. Well, he's out usually all day long. Like, he comes out 7 o'clock in the morning when I come down, and he's just sitting there, hey, do you have a piece of nori for me? And I drop a piece in, and he grabs onto it and rattles it around, and then sticks it on my my power head to let it get shredded.
Jeez. Oh, hey, Adrian. Adrian Mitchell, nice to see you tonight. Yeah, Bert says pink is the most common color for Haitian anemones. Yeah, maybe look into it. Annie is thinking that it looks like it might be dying because when they begin to get shortened tentacles, then it's almost over. So I guess you'll be able to tell.
Yeah, none of the ones that I've seen in the store have long tentacles. Like, they're all, I would say, at most maybe half an inch.
Yeah. And you said the base is like kind of a white color, like a really light color?
Yeah, a light whitish kind of creamy color.
Yeah. Man, that thing just
I don't know.
glows.
Oh,
Yeah.
he throws off so much light.
Well, just have to keep an eye on it and see what it does. You know,
Well, he's
if it's
definitely one of
happy
my
and it's,
favorite
you
little
know,
guys right now. So
give it some food periodically, see if it'll eat. And
it
that's the only
seems to
thing, you know. Even if it's quote unquote not healthy or happy, if it's eating and everything, that'll go a long way right there.
Yeah. Well,
And
he's
you
been
might need to
pretty.
give it something meaty beyond reef rice.
Well, I was going to
Uh,
say the one thing that oh, there you go. There he is.
oh, is that a
Blue
yellowhead
streak.
sleeper goby? Blue streak.
Yep.
I love those sleeper gobies. They're so cool.
Yeah, those guys eat sand. I don't like them.
Oh yeah, he does a lot. As you can see, all those little white specks everywhere. Just
Yep,
goes to town.
I refuse. I won't do sand sifting gobies or fish. I won't do them anymore.
My wife loved them, so she gets a liking to something. I can pretty much guarantee that it's going to come home.
That's why I got two. That's why I'll have a dueling display with a big fish tank and a reef, where I can be like, well, and honestly, I don't think I'm going to do many sand corals this time around. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I might be like, yeah, I don't care.
I'm hoping the next big order that my local fish store pulls in, they're expecting a good helping of acans. So I'm going to see if I can get my hands in on there. I've been chasing a tealed ring red center. And here in Canada, like you know yourself, it's so hard to get some things. And for whatever reason, that one coloration of acan that I'm chasing, it seems to be the hardest one to get.
I find that stuff seasonal. For a while there, I was looking for red, couldn't find red, and all you could get is green. Then I was looking for green. Nobody had any green. It was all red. So strange.
I almost feel I got to use a Canadian joke here.
Oh,
And
there's so much that we just can't get here.
I'm sure Cindy knows where I'm going to line this up, but you know, did you bribe someone with a good jar or a bottle of maple syrup?
I'm telling you, Alex, there's a place near us that makes award-winning maple syrup, and if I ever actually get to come to your place, I'm bringing you a gallon of it. Yeah.
Gotta know how to do the trading with everyone.
I know. That's right.
You got the cans I want, and I got the maple syrup you want.
Yep, exactly. Oh yeah.
Yeah, those mushrooms there are some of the. I got one for $5, and he's just been phenomenal.
Is it a discosoma, a smooth one, or?
Yeah, discosoma. It's a blue metallic.
Okay. It's so funny because those things for a while became like people were trying to throw them away, and every now and then I still see blues and reds or greens that people are trying to throw them away, and then every now and then I see them like at a show or something, and someone's asking like $20 a pop for them, and I almost laugh because I'm like, are you kidding me? But they got like people stopped getting them because they were too invasive at times.
Yeah.
You
got to decide if you want a mushroom tank.
He's done maybe 2 inches, and he's got 3 or 4 little babies in his little hole that he originally settled in, and that's over 8 months now.
Yeah, my experience with those, I bought a red discosoma, the type that has radiating little tiny bumps coming out from the center, and I really liked it. And I had a heck of a time getting that thing to even start to grow and get larger. It was the size of a dime for I don't even know how long. And the next time I turned around and looked, those things were everywhere on the rock, killing a chalice, killing a goniopora. like just killing everything. But they're
Yeah.
so pretty. Like they're a true red.
Yeah, it's
I
tough with those kind of coral. Well, even like I know you hate the green hairy mushrooms now, Cindy, but
Oh
man, they
God,
do
yeah.
look nice.
They do. And you know what? The clownfish loves them so much. There's no way I can ever get rid of them while I have her.
Yeah, I've had kind of the same idea with, I have a Superman Recordia, and he's probably a quarter of an inch now. But when I got him, he was just the smallest little thing. He was one of the ones that came in on my Zoa pack when I got them, that just kind of hiding underneath in the polyps, and he popped out when I was doing my dipping.
Yeah,
But
I wish Recordia grew the way that Discosomas do. Those things always look so nice.
yeah, well, this guy's beautiful. He's got this nice dark blue body, and then these red bumpy lines, like kind of you were saying on the other one that you were talking about.
Yeah, like they're like little tiny, like pearl-like dots
Yeah.
in radiating lines coming out from the center. Here, let me show you my clownfish resting in her. This is what happens when she goes to sleep. Let me see if I can find this. And I got a picture of this last night. This one right here.
There we go. Oh.
There she is. And those are the green hairy mushrooms. Of course, this is room light when the tank lights are off.
Yeah.
And she just goes to sleep and she just lays on her side. The mushrooms are closed right up and she's over there laying on her side. Yeah, she loves them so much.
Yeah, the red bubble tip that I have there, he was hosting 5 clowns at one point. But no, I've never had them go for my mushrooms. Yeah. I've had them up in my green star a few times, but hard for them to perch up there. They just kept sliding off and getting grumpy.
Burnt Minshew's over here. You got to go back later, you guys, and read the chat. The skimmer is not rated per gallon. It's rated for fish and mammals. It's orca rated. Should paint Shamu's boss on it. Jesus.
I was gonna, for a while at the old house, I was gonna like call it the Hulk, but I never got around to it.
Yeah.
All right, I need to. I'm down to 5% on the phone here, so I'm gonna say my adieu, and everybody have a great evening.
Yep. Thanks again,
Good night, Mark.
Take care.
Oh, I think we also lost. All right. Okay. And Marcus Stevenson sent a picture, which I'll share with you guys, of the excavations that he undertook. Let me see if I can get this transferred over. And we'll pop it over here. This is really interesting. Okay, where is it? I thought I just brought it out. Over it. Oh, for some reason it's not. Oh, wait a second. This one, 3155. This one right here. Okay. So we were talking earlier about Marcus's excavations in his crawl space. I don't remember how big the tank is that he was setting up, but here's what it looks like.
Nice.
So that's what he had to build in a crawl space to support the aquarium.
So you poured a footing and then put jacks on that.
Yep.
I like it.
Man, oh man. And I seem to remember too that the weather at the time was really hot. Yeah.
I've been in crawl spaces in the summer. That's no fun.
Yeah. Calcium and alkalinity. Adrian's got some questions. Oh, Bert's got to run. It's been fun and y'all are awesome. Great job. And y'all have a beautiful night. Thanks for coming by, Bert. Comic relief is always fun. Nice. Yeah, so I guess now I just got to wait until Monday, and then the 6-foot cube crate is going to be arriving with my tank. So they say. Geez, in fact, maybe I'll look right now and see where it is, if it's changed since this morning.
So it is. I remember you were saying it was on its way.
Yeah. Well, the guy said he shipped it Monday, but when he sent the copy of the weigh bill, it said July 28th, which was Wednesday, but it didn't hit the tracking system for fast freight, which is the freight company, until July 30th. So my thinking is it probably did not even start to travel until July 30th. And yeah, it says 09 August 0800. So I don't know if the big truck's going to show up at 8 in the morning, but I kind of doubt it. Because, I know the sun comes into our living room in the morning, but by the time I'm up, it's usually long gone over the house. So if I get up early enough to get presentable by 8 o'clock, then I might actually get to see the sun in our living room.
Well, that will be a very interesting story. Well, I thought I was going to get my tank, but I didn't get up in time for the delivery.
That's right.
That would be a pretty good story. I mean, you definitely get some colorful comments to that.
Well, there was a mistake on the weigh bill. It said my phone number wrong by 1 digit. And as soon as I saw that, I went, oh my God, the guy's going to try and call. He's going to get somebody else that has no idea what he's talking about. So immediately I emailed the company with my tracking number and I said, my phone number on there is wrong. Can you please update it? Because I don't want to have a problem when it comes time to actually schedule the delivery. And I did not hear back from them. And there's no way to access a copy of that information from the tracking thing. So I can only hope at this point. So we'll see what happens.
Hopefully it doesn't get stuck in a warehouse that's like 5 minutes from your house and they're like, sorry, we don't have a truck to deliver it. Because
nope, it says right on there, truck with lift gate, residential delivery. So
well, it said that for me too with my dehumidifier. They held it for like a week and a half, and we're calm. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I seriously was like, I'll come down there and get it.
Yep. Oh, and get this. When I contacted the guy that I'm hoping will be able to move the tank from the garage into the house, he's somewhat local here, about half hour away, and it is an aquarium company, an aquarium business, has a store and does installs and maintenance and all that kind of thing. And I know he's moved stuff. I told him the clearance on the front door was 31 inches with the door open, right? And my tank is 21 inches, so I figured that's lots of space to get her in, right? Last night at 3 in the morning, I woke up and I went, 31 inches? My stand is in 2 segments that are 33 inches because it had to be cut in half because it's 40 tall and 5 feet wide. And so 33 inches was the only way to do it. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got out of bed, I got a tape measure, and I went and I measured the door, and the door itself is 34 inches. So the door is closed, and I wasn't going to stand there in my night clothes and open the front door at 3 in the morning and measure between the jamb to jamb, right? Because there's a reveal on the front, right? Or like a you know what I mean?
Storm door.
So yeah. So this morning I said to my husband, I gotta check the door. And it's 33¼ inches jamb to jamb. But I think we can remove one side, the side that has the hinges on, if we had to. We'd probably wreck it, We probably have to repair it, but the door will come off. I mean, we've done this before. We have aquariums. We've done this before. You take the door off. If we had to, I think we could take off the 1/2-inch jamb on the one side and then just replace it and repair it. But that's kind of what's going through my mind now is second guessing myself, because I would have figured all this out way before I ordered it. And now I just have to hope that the platforms are flush with the front or recessed and not on the outside. Because has he sent me any pictures? Of course not.
Well, I mean, I would think something like that's going to be bolted on anyways. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like, well, I had that slight freak out when I moved into my new house because I think it was the fact that I was just, by the time they were getting to this, I was kind of like on just adrenaline for the move because it was all day and I'd been tearing down aquariums and doing all this stuff. Like, I think I moved I moved my aquarium the day before the movers came to the townhouse, but then like the new house, just prepping everything, get stuff ready, and then had to go back and forth multiple times. And I just remember like I did the measurements on like one of the smaller tanks. So I was like, everything aquarium related goes in the basement. And one of them I had a freak out on because I like checked the measurement and I was like, oh my God, it's not going to fit. Like, what are they going to do? And I'm like, I need this tank. Like, I can't not. And I'm sitting there like going round and round. And then I finally figured, I'm like, dude, you're not holding the tape measure right, man. Calm down. Like, calm yourself down a bit. You're okay. You measured the wrong dimension of the tank and the wrong. Don't even know how I got the door the way I did.
Well, I'm the kind of person, all of these issues would have been resolved and dealt with months, like before the beginning of this year, before I even ordered the tank, it would all have been figured out. But of course we didn't know the size of the door till we moved in. And then the tank was ordered after that. So I knew it was a 34-inch front door. But when I measured the clearance for the guy to bring the tank in, I just opened the door and then I measured from the inside of the door where it's on the hinges over to the other side. And that's 31. So lots of space without having to take the door off to bring the tank in. But we may have to take the doors off of this room because it's coming into a front hallway. It's 5 feet in one direction, 5 by 5.5. It'll be on its side, I'm thinking. So they got to swing it around and somehow rotate it horizontal to get it in and on the stand. And I have no clue. They're going to need jacks or something. All I can do is trust that if they accept the job, they've got the equipment and the manpower to do it. And I do trust that if he does accept the job, he will be able to do it because it's their business, right?
The only thing I could tell you to do is to either make a cardboard model, make it a little bit bigger, and just tape it all up, and then you and your husband walk it through.
Yeah.
This is just professional experience with aquarium moving, is that one of the most memorable aquarium moving jobs I ever had was we had to do a 220 or a 240 acrylic, brand new. Had an acrylic stand, acrylic tank, and an acrylic canopy. It was 8 foot by 2. I think it was 2 by 30 or 2 by 2. I can't remember. And the stand, of course, was just taller. And then the canopy wasn't a big deal. And I remember I just got called to help load it on a truck and deliver the thing. It was not my buddy's maintenance company. It was like a friend that we used to help each other out. We needed like manpower.
Yep.
And I remember like he's telling me, he's like, this is gonna be real simple, Alex. We're gonna get over there, we're gonna unload it off the truck, put it on the dolly, we're gonna stand it up in the elevator, go up to where it's gotta go, and we'll be done. It's gonna be like an hour-long job. I'm like, okay, cool. So we get there, and the first thing you always do is a when you're moving an aquarium is, all right, where do we got to go? So we get in the elevator,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going, take any measurements with this before you decided to say we're going to go up the elevator? Well, why? Well, I'm like, well, my friend here's like 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
The elevator ain't much taller than him. It looks like it's about 7 feet, and the tank's 8 feet tall. Oh, I think it'll make it. Let's measure that. And it's 7 feet tall, and it was a tiny elevator. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be higher than 8 feet to angle it in.
That's right.
And I'm like, and they
You
didn't have a
gotta have
freight
room.
elevator.
You gotta have room for the tilt.
So then they're like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, we got the staircase with landings every half floor. We can go up 3 floors on. And he's like, and that was a 90-degree turn at every one of those. And
Mm-hmm.
it was funny because like, guy kind of had a panic. I was like, don't worry, I got a plan for us, because we couldn't. The landing was in such a way with the ceiling and stuff that you had to like lift the tank vertical onto each landing,
Mm-hmm.
and then take it a couple steps, and then slowly you'd have enough clearance. And like, yeah, the 30-minute job turned into like 2.5 hours. And it's all acrylic, so you had to be incredibly careful to scratch anything.
Yeah.
I don't care about saran wrap on it. That's not going to do nothing if you drag it on the floor.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah,
I know.
it's always the way to manipulate.
Yeah. Yeah, Annie, that was one of the things in my request for a quote. I did say, like, I'm assuming you guys are insured, because they do aquarium moves all the time as part of their business. And I agree with you. They've got to be insured for something like this. It's just too much at stake if something happens.
Cindy, what I would probably do, kind of incognito on your part, which I'm sure you could easily do, is when they arrive on site, have your cell phone on, video record it, and
Mm-hmm.
just say, hey, I just want to make sure that, per your moving policy, if you guys break the tank, are you covering it?
Yeah.
And how exactly do you cover it? And get them to tell you that on video.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm hoping he'll come actually for a site visit. I mean, he's only half an hour away. But I don't know. The guy's so busy. I have actually contacted another mover that was recommended by the fish store. And this guy he's a mover, but he specializes in aquariums, pianos, stuff like that. The thing is, he is based in a city that's probably 2 hours from here. So I don't want to pay travel time if I can avoid it. But if he gets back to me with a quote and I don't hear back from this other guy, like, we're not even going to be ready for at least a week and a half, because we got to clear out this room. We have to build controller boxes. Once we know the depth of the overflow, we know the swing where our door can swing for the controller boxes behind the tank over here. And there's going to be one on each side. I'm putting my Picasso triggerfish knobs on them that I saved from the other place. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, everybody's so busy, and I'm not going to say I have to have it in my house by September 1st. Not doing that. If they can't come until September 15th, I'm okay with that. At this point, what's another 2 weeks after I've waited 7 months, right? But I want to hear back from somebody.
And the amount of work that everybody has right now and how busy they've been.
Yep.
I'd be much more inclined to tell someone, go ahead and take an extra week or 2 if you need.
Yep.
Because when you tend to get pushy with people,
they
might come out to do the job, but if they're rushed, they might make mistakes.
Yeah,
and I'd rather be like, hey, you need more time, just take more time. I want you and your guys coming here fresh.
Yeah. Well, I contacted the one guy as soon as I knew the tank had shipped. So that would have been July 30th, I guess, or the 29th, whatever that date was. So as soon as I knew that it had shipped, I contacted him. I said, it's not here yet. And I'd like, if possible, to get it in the house by the end of August. And the same with the other guy who I contacted, like just, I think, August 3rd or something. Same thing. I'd like to get it in the house by the end of August. And, you know, like if it has to go farther, but I just want to hear back from somebody, you know. So we'll see. I can follow up with them. One guy, he did contact me and said, can you send me pictures? So I did. I sent him a short video, and haven't heard back. Actually, he has a gorgeous fish that I want that was from a tank teardown. And it's on his website, and I've asked him to send me a picture, and he's going to, like, the actual specimen. Because you know what they do? They put it up on the website, and it's not the actual fish. It's off Live Aquaria or
Yeah.
somewhere else, right? So I want a picture of the actual fish. I want to see how big it is and everything else. But anyway, so, you know, I'm still in that mode of just kind of trying to get her done and trying. I totally agree with you. The last thing I want to be is pushy and demanding, because up to this point, I've just sat and waited. And now we're at the really critical part. So.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. And then
Yeah.
it was funny because even when I was at Home Depot today and I was looking at the plywood, and I'm like, you know, if I need a big order of this, can you guys deliver it at the house? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to have you deliver the 27 sheets of plywood I need to the house. Cause
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody hear that? 27 sheets of plywood, too thick. Yeah, Annie, the doors into this room are 60 inches wide because it's a double door and there's no post in the middle. So there's lots of space, and our exterior door is 34. So we have glass in that door, so like leaded glass, and we're not going to spend $3,000 on a whole new door set to make it wider.
all you got to do is get the tank in there.
Yeah.
You can always, you know, leave it to the next homeowner to figure out how to get it out.
Yep, that's
Kinda
right.
Kind of like with mine, because I'm sure that puzzle that might one day be asked of, how the heck did this guy get this crap in here?
Uh-huh.
Followed by someone going, I think he built it down here.
Mm-hmm. It's like people that get pianos in their basement and they can't come out. Like, how did they get it in if it can't come out unless they renovated around it, you know?
Some people do some pretty crazy things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Don't we know it?
It was funny because so I went to Oshkosh for a week, which is the Experimental Aircraft Association's big air show for a week.
Oh, nice.
And there's a lot of home built planes there, people that are building their own planes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And my dad and I, you know, it's like a 7-day air show. We went there. We were going to stay there. We stayed there a whole 7 days. It was just too much for us.
Yeah.
Because we weren't attending like forums and shops and like seminars and all this stuff that, you know, is more for pilots, which we're not.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let's go walk into like one of their restoration hangars and see what kind of project they're working on. So they had this old, like, it was like a 1930s or 40s private plane that was all wood.
Mm.
And someone had donated it to the museum in like the 60s. So the association was going to restore the aircraft, but they only work on it during the air show. So every year for 1 week, they work on the plane to restore it, not to flying condition, but basically back to what it was. And it was really cool because it was like a basket weave of wood. And when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, it's metal. But then when you got up to it, like, no, it's just got like a silver paint on it. This is all wood.
Oh my God.
And it was funny because as I was talking to the guy, I'm like, oh, I build aquariums and stuff. So we got to striking up an aquarium-esque conversation about woodworking.
Mm-hmm.
So he was looking at how I was building my stand in my aquariums. It was just like awestruck. I thought it was kind of funny. I was just like, I got in like an hour conversation about aquariums at an air show. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think people don't appreciate, that a gallon of salt water weighs almost 9 pounds. And, when you get to a mega tank, that's a hell of a lot of water. One Golf Jones, how far do you have? Oh, how far do you have to move your tank from the truck to your home, and how much help do you have? It's coming on a lift gate with a pallet jack, from my understanding. They're going to place it in the garage, in the crate. So it's in a crate. Although we were joking about bubble wrap, my husband said, if they put it on a pallet in a truck, strapped her down real good, I could see bubble wrap working. If it went in the truck and didn't come out again until it got here. Anyway, but it's in a crate that's 6 feet, essentially a 6-foot cube. And it'll be placed in our garage by the guy that delivers it. So then we have to uncrate it. I'm hoping the stand is on top, but we don't know. And we have to uncrate it, check everything, and make sure it's all good. Then we want to bring the stand into the house. And then we're going to test fill the tank in the garage, just slowly, like 6 inches at a time. Leave it for like 3 or 4 or 5 days, another 6 inches, 3 or 4 or 5 days, and then just pump all that water out. We'll just use the garden hose.
what are you going to put it on in the garage to test fill it?
I don't know. Like I'm thinking if we leave it just on whatever it comes on. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. We might crush the pallet. It might be a problem.
No,
Or if it's not level. Yeah, we might be better to do it in the house. I never even thought of that.
I'll be honest. I think I would.
Yeah.
You got it professionally built and everything. I think I would just wait, put it on the stand, and then do that slow fill you're talking about.
Yeah, I never even thought of that because you're right. There's no way the pallet's going to be level on the garage floor, and we could end up with a disaster.
Yeah, and that I could see the builder coming back and going, that wasn't an appropriate stand for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we never talked to, like, if you didn't discuss it in like
very specific terms.
Yeah, they might have come back and said, you can't, like, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. It has to be done inside.
I've just put it on the stand, and that way there's like whatever foam or pad or nothing that they tell you, and like,
yep.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the better way to go.
Well, because then what we could do is test fill with RO water and then just add salt and mix her up.
I like your plan. I know somebody that does that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. You're, yeah, Annie, that's the plan, is to just gradually level it, get it level to where we think it's level. Then when you start adding water, then you really find out if it's level. We learned that with the 90 at the holding tank.
And I would say with yours being such a big cube that even with like 2-3 inches of water in it, you should be able to know if if something's not staying true, correct it then before you fill it. Because the only thing with it being a cube tank, the longer you go, the wider you go, the more you're exacerbating any kind of torsion that you might put on a seam. Usually with long tanks, they're long, but they're narrow, and maybe they're taller, but that twisting between the long ends is what you always worry about. But
Yeah.
the deeper you go in the tank, just that twist can become just as big of an issue
Yeah.
because it's a bigger distance.
Which is why it has to be on the proper stand and properly leveled. Yeah. Well, I calculated that 1 inch of water is roughly 18 gallons in this tank. So, you know, we go 50 gallons at a time. That should be a pretty good rate to fill. Yeah. And then once we know that it's all good, then I have to put my rocks in. And I'm probably going to have to climb in at some point to do that. But before I do that, it has to be salt water because I'm cooking my rocks and they're live. So we got a few things to figure out before we get there. And that's why I'm really not in a hurry. But at the same time, I really didn't think it was going to be September, you know, before we reach this point. But it is what it is, right? Everybody wants to say that these days. Can't do anything about it.
I don't even know when I'm gonna have my big tank done.
Yeah.
Someone was just asking me about it, and I'm like, maybe next year, maybe.
Well, and it's because people don't have a concept of how much work there is to do, and that you're the only one doing it.
Well, and
You know?
I'll say this, that the stand that I'm building right now, like all the legs and that 2x4 structure, is probably the most labor intensive thing.
Yeah.
Because everything is, you know, each one of those legs has 6 screws in it. You know, there's 14 of them in each section.
Yep.
And, you know, all those sections adding up,
Mhm.
and then other stringers on top of that. And then, you know, once I get the base of the tank done, would you quit jumping up here? The canopy is still a slight bit of a challenge for me because I'm still not exactly sure how I'm going to build all of it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's going to be rather simple because it's more or less, it's just going to be a big hollow shell, and I'm going to try and build it as light as I can. So,
Sorry, that just made me think. I was looking up at my
oh,
the
whether or
white.
not the tank's going to clear the canopy when you go to tip it up.
No, I don't know if I can get in the tank under the canopy and the lights because I think there's only be this much space and there's more of me than that. No, when we put this crib mesh up all over the wiring, within the first maybe 4 or 5 days, some became detached. So we got the hair dryer out and we fastened all of those self-stick Velcro pads with the hair dryer. And oh boy, did that ever work because that was like 2 months ago and now they're still sticking. So that's good. Yeah.
So, yeah,
How
I
much
think,
estimate, please?
yeah, between the canopy, that I don't think is going to be that terribly difficult. I think probably the thing I'm most worried about would just be the top frame that the glass has to attach to, is building that to the exact dimensions of the lower one, which I'm going to build them on top of each other.
Yeah.
So once I build the lower perimeter, I'm going to go back and build the top perimeter right on top of it, and then I'm going to lift it once it's done.
Yeah. But you're
So,
going to get help though, right? You're going to get somebody to help you, right?
yeah, me.
I just remember you talking about putting the canopy over top of that 400, I think it was, and just
This
about
would
losing
be
it.
a little different thing that I think I can handle because, a vampire or something? What is your deal? Are you upset you can't go upstairs with Mama? Oh, geez, I said the word.
He knows that, right? So funny. Hey, ATF in the house. So how much estimate, please? I'm not sure what you mean, but how much is it going to cost for me to get the thing moved in here? I have no idea.
I would say
Yeah.
cheaper than Oh wait, you're in Canada, so you have medical care.
Cheaper than a year's worth of physiotherapy? Yeah.
Yeah, see, I
Um,
always look at it as movers are cheaper than what my medical insurance deductible would be for me to go to the ER and all the other subsequent medical bills.
yeah.
Which, when I
Well,
put that into perspective for moving the house, everyone went, "Wow, that's a really good way to think about that." And I go, "Yep,
hmm
let
well,
someone
and
else haul that crap."
you also have to remember, my husband's 66. Our neighbor here is in his 60s and he's going to retire this fall. The guy across the street is in his early 70s. The guys beside them, it's a couple. One guy's still working, the other guy's retired. They're in their upper 60s. The people beside that are still working. Well, no, he is, she isn't. He's in his late 50s. We don't have young, strapping lads in this neighborhood. So, we're better off to hire. Well, I don't care. To me, it's a skill. It's a very specific skill. And yeah, you might want a couple of guys just for brute strength on the suction cups. But to actually get the thing oriented the way it has to be oriented to get it in the door, to have the equipment, the jacks, floor jack, whatever they do, I don't know, and then get it oriented horizontally again to slide it onto this, like, it's a specialist task. And because this thing costs so freaking much money, the last thing I would ever want, well, plus remember, the guy got it dropped on him during the build and it broke. So, I don't want to take that chance.
Yeah, I'll say this: my experience of moving aquariums, I mean, even with a lot of my stuff, I moved a lot of it myself. Now, I did shatter one big piece of glass, and that was my boo-boo. But uh, it's not about brute strength. This is as it is as much about planning.
Yeah. Just like
And
anything aquarium related, any kind of a move,
you
whether it's
know,
livestock or whatever. Yeah.
when I first came on here, it was talking about moving like 5,000-pound blocks by
hmm
yourself.
Yeah.
That's the type of thinking where it's, yeah, you need to just think about it, use levers, like
Yep.
all the glass, the tanks and stuff that I've moved over the years. Half the time, I just make big fulcrums.
hmm
I use a fulcrum and a giant lever,
hmm
and I'll lift the whole thing up by
Yeah.
myself. Sometimes I'll try to get my wife to help me, and I'll say, "Please hold this while I kick it a couple times." The
Yep.
glass for my big tank. I know the big sheets are going to weigh 500 pounds apiece. Getting them in the basement, I've got two different paths to go. One's easier, one's more difficult. But even the more difficult path, I'm probably going to try and use pulleys, levers, and chain falls to try and eliminate, someone trying to lift 500 pounds with brute strength,
Yep.
spend a little extra money to rig it right,
Yep.
completely eliminate the fact that somebody could have, their back goes out, they lose their grip,
Yep.
it falls, and then, those big sheets of glass I have, if I do bring them down the stairs like I originally planned, I'm going to crate up every sheet
Oh
individually
yeah. Yeah.
because I don't want it to break,
At that stage, like really, when it's
yeah.
so close. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but if it breaks, it's going to be over people's heads.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to fall on
Mm-mm.
someone because
Yep.
not going to lie, if you got a sheet of glass that's taller than you, that's 3/4 of an inch thick, and it snaps and it falls on you,
hmm
it's not going to end well.
No.
And
No.
I don't want that on my conscience. So
Yeah.
I'll crate it up for an extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
see,
Well,
yeah, see, moving to
plywood's a lot
400.
plywood's a lot cheaper now, right? Pump carts, and I built a 35-foot ramp that I rolled the tank through the window on plastic rods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
all about
unorthodox
just
reef. Yeah.
being smarter.
Well, and that's why I just figure I'm going to let professionals do it. because I have the luxury I mean, I've planned for it. It's going to cost me money. And in fact, the one guy, the guy that I'm hoping will do it that's local, through their business, they support a reef restoration charity. And I want to give them a donation for that as part of it, aside from it, right? And the other guy, I guess I could give him a good tip. Movers like tips. I didn't know that. I didn't know you're supposed to tip movers. And my husband read about it. And so we tipped the movers that moved us in here. It was the same guys that moved us out of our house at the other end. And then we found out about tipping. So when they moved us in here, he gave them like really good tips. And it was the same guys. And they loved it. Yeah.
When I moved into my house here in December, because I tipped the guys when we moved out. But when we were moving in here, it was December, so it was Christmas time, and I said, well, I'm gonna give them a little extra tip. So there were two main guys. Actually, there were three main guys, and then two more ended up showing up because they just needed another truck and stuff. And one of the guys was new. And he was lagging behind and everything a bit. Like, I was like about ready to like, all right, don't bust him like you want to. Let his coworkers do that to him. So I even talked to the guys. I'm like, he new or something? And they're like, yeah, he's new. And I'm like, I could tell. So at the end of the day, I brought them all in the house and I told them, I said, all right, you two guys that showed up a little later, I gave them a tip, but a little less tip.
Yeah.
And then the other three guys, the two that were the main guys, I gave them their tip. And then the third guy that was the new guy, I go, well, I said, you're going to get a tip, but you're not getting it from me. I said, I'm giving this money to your coworkers, and they will decide how much of this you deserve. And then, so he was kind of like awestruck, and the other guys were like, you can have the whole thing, but you're buying beers for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, we went and got gift cards for the guys that were doing the sod because it was so hot. The couple of days they spent laying the sod, it was amazing the job that they did. And we had already planted a tree and we had lines painted on the dirt for the garden that we were going to put out front. So we said, this is what we're doing. You don't need to sod there. And they just looked at it. And I heard one of them next door going, yeah, I didn't expect to have to trim around, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I just thought, okay, so we thought you're using less sod, but they see it that all this work they had to do to trim around the garden. Right. And so I felt really bad because that never occurred to me. So we went and got a whole bunch of Tim Hortons gift cards. And on the day they came back, my husband went over and handed them all out and said, hey, you guys, have a week's worth of coffee on us. And we really appreciate all the extra work you went to and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think they expected anything because I don't think people usually do that with that kind of service, because it's all a contractor. It's part of the house being built, whatever. But we just felt so bad because of all the extra work we put them to, and they did such a good job.
well, you really busted out the big guns with Tim Hortons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Give them some
exactly.
Timbits, eh?
Yeah, I don't know. I like McDonald's coffee better, but anyway, never mind.
Cindy, I hope I see you next week because talk like that, we might not see you again if coming from Canada.
Yeah.
You're going to get charged with mischief for that.
Oh, well. Well, I mean, Tim Hortons isn't even Canadian anymore. So it's owned by Restaurant Brands, which is a Brazilian conglomerate. And
Still
if you,
Canadian to us here in the States, though.
oh, I know.
You
But if
you
you,
can't get it in the Chicago area unless you go downtown, apparently.
yeah,
But
if
I'll
you,
second your. I like my vanilla iced coffee from McDonald's. That's my.
yeah, they
I
make,
got to stay away from it.
I get lattes. They make much better lattes than Tim Hortons. Yeah. No, that if you look it up, if you Google Tim Hortons franchisees sue corporate, some of the stuff that they're going through is just absolutely ridiculous. Or I don't know what they're doing now, but it has not been good times recently. Yeah, Alex is right. You could twist and break the tank in the garage. Oh yeah. No, I totally get why. Because I wasn't even thinking of that. And even if we put it right on the cement, there's no way I would trust it.
It'll probably be sloped.
Oh, it is towards,
Well,
yeah.
just to give everybody an idea of like, I talked about leveling my tank with the laser.
Yep.
So the stand, I started at 17 inches in height. That's the height that I want. What are you looking at? There's nothing there.
Does she see? Is it the ghosts? Is it the spirits of the
Now
spirits
you're
of
run
the
away. Oh, jeez. There's nothing there. Come here. It's the aquarium, silly.
Maybe she sees a reflection,
No, he can't.
or him.
He's looking at an angle. Come here. What do you see? Something back there? Come here. Oh, stop. Welcome to my world, everybody.
Yeah, I keep seeing my cat going in and out behind me.
Yeah, I saw it walk by there. Come on, you two. Behave. Come here. What are you afraid of now? What were we talking about?
Oh, I think Tim Hortons and all the trouble they're having.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'd make a lot of coffee at home now. I used to drink a lot at work, and then I had my coffee addiction at McDonald's, and I was like, I gotta stop this. It's getting expensive.
Well, you know what the nice thing about McDonald's, though? You get the little stickers that you can put on a card. Do you have
We
that in
don't
the
have that
States?
around here.
It's great because the McCafe, you peel the sticker, you put it on the card. When you get 7 on the card, you can get a free coffee, medium size, whatever. So I get my lattes, fill up the card. I think I have like 3 of them in my wallet just waiting to use. So you get a medium size free latte. So it's a couple bucks. But the nice thing is that cup that you get with your free coffee has a sticker on to get you started on your next 7. So it's really only 6.
Sorry. He's sitting over here cowering at the what are you afraid of the protein skimmer?
He probably just realized it was there.
I don't know what his deal is. Hopefully there's not some kind of animal. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my God, a mouse got in your air draw.
Don't say that.
They can get in spaces that are the size of your thumbnail, you know. Because their skeletons are flexible.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the day to seeing your tank on its stand though.
Yeah, me too.
So
yeah, because the next live stream will be me sitting in the doorway over there with the tank behind me. And I pulled out the gateway for the Atlantic lights, and I'm going to sit here and get them hooked up and running. I'm not going to program them yet because I got to run some par numbers downstairs and see what's doing really well at what par right now. Is that me?
I gotta respond to a text, so I might go away for a second here.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna get the lights ready, because if I need to, there's cords you have to plug in, and I think it needs to be hardwired to my laptop. I don't know. And get those all set up so that I'm not having to reach over the tank if I do need to be in contact with the lights at some point, which I think I do. So yeah.
Yeah, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing that on there. It's going to look really nice. Want to see the
I hope
aquascape.
so. Yeah, I hope it's good. I'm trying to think ahead for big fish. It's only going to be 19 inches of water. So, you know, I've made the tallest parts of the aquascape are roughly 9.5 inches. I toyed with the idea of having some emergent rocks, but then I got to figure out flow, and then you're going to get a scummy shoreline and tide pools, and then I'm going to grow stuff I probably don't want to grow. So
Yeah, I'm gonna keep everything under water for my tanks. I might get a few things close to the top, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, well,
So
and I mean, if I want to grow corals big, actually, I got Moselea latistulata, 2 colonies of it. Well, no, 1 solitary polyp and 1 colony of it, and Oenophilia crispa, Oenophilia crispa. Can't remember the name. I guess I could look it up. From my LFS, they got it in a shipment, and
okay.
they're not very common. They don't even have common names.
I say
It
it's not
is
something that I want to say I've heard it, but I'm like I cannot picture it.
Moselea latistulata, and one is green and purple, and the other one that's the solitary polyp is blue and pink. And then
Okay.
Eulophilia crispa, which is a type which looks like maze brain, but it's in a different family. It has a different um, arrangement of walls and valleys, I guess. I don't know. I've read what I could about them, but they don't have common names, so I there's not much out there. So we'll see. But they both like turbid water. And so I got to find a place in my tank right near detritus on the bottom that I can stir up every once in a while. Uh-oh, unorthodox REIT just went downstairs to a flood.
Ooh,
QT, trickle filter overflowed. Oh dear.
that sucks. Well, I think I have got to go. My wife is blowing up my phone here, so
Okay,
I
gotta go answer
my cue
that.
to exit. So it
Yeah,
was good talking to you though, and I'll
yeah,
see if
you
I can get
too.
on next week after Aquashella.
Nice. It'd be interesting to hear how that goes with the whole situation with distancing masks or not, all that kind of thing.
I have I'm going to be attending with somebody that's in the medical field, so they
Good,
already just said I'll be bringing you a mask, and I was like, okay.
good,
So
good. All right. Well, thanks for coming by. Say hi to your wife for everybody.
all right,
And
thanks,
thank her
Cindy.
for sparing us or sparing you to us.
Oh, that's all right. All right, have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, good night.
All right, bye.
Bye. Cool. Well, hey, I think that's usually my cue when everybody leaves at the end of the night to say good night, everybody. It's not 11:30 yet, so I'm kind of happy about that because it means I won't be up quite so late checking out the replay. And I hope to see you guys all next week because by then, let's cross our fingers and hope it all goes well. I will at least have that 6-foot cube box in my garage. And who knows, maybe even uncrate it by then. I'll get it all in video because, of course, I have to put out a YouTube video sooner or later that talks about the tank. And it's been a long time. And I feel like I haven't put out very many videos at all. I know I haven't. And I feel bad about that. So hopefully now things will start to happen and something worth actually documenting and making a video will start to happen instead of just me showing you top down all my corals sitting in those giant vats. So thanks everybody for coming by tonight and spending the time. And if you watch the replay and you're at this point, thank you for hanging in. And we'll see you guys next week. So take care. Stay safe, everybody.